Alright, it's time for another week. ZTGD Radio. This is episode 748 for May 29th, 2023. On the show this week, we got Anthony.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ. We got.
Did you say boo? What was that?
It was a woo, but it had no enthusiasm.
He's just like.
Gotta get that Ric Flair woo, man. You gotta woo. You gotta get in there.
Not today, no.
We got Terrence, as you can hear.
What up, y'all?
And welcome back, Jay.
Buongiorno.
There you go. That's what we talk about. Boy, we got a lot to talk about today, but none of it is games because nobody played anything. The fucking Zelda and shit you can't talk about.
Right.
But we do have the Sony showcase to talk about, which that should be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
And there's other things going on. Getting that time. Like, did y'all notice, like, the Sony showcase happened, and then, like, I saw a bunch of tweets going out of, like, a bunch of other showcases that I didn't even know were happening? Like...
Yep. Like, Marvelous had one, and I don't even know what the hell they make. I saw they had one. The
Warhammer thing happened.
Warhammer. Yep, Warhammer just had theirs. Somebody else had
Alone
one.
in the Dark had one.
Oh, it had a showcase? I thought it was just a demo.
No, they put out a showcase where, like, they showed the game and all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's crazy, man. It's that time of year.
Yep.
And now we wait for Summer Game Fest, but first, the second coming of Jesus, because the Xbox fanboys told me that, PlayStation dropped the ball, so here come Xbox, they're going to deliver the world.
Yeah.
When is the Xbox show? Do we have a date for that?
Oh, yeah. We've had a date for months. It's the 11th, so 2 weeks from today.
Oh, I thought that was just Starfield. It's the Xbox show plus Starfield?
Yes, the Xbox show is first. It's 90 minutes, and then Starfield is its own thing for 30 minutes.
Ooh, 90 minutes. I hope they keep it nice and tight. It's just trailers mostly.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah.
90 minutes could be 2 games for Xbox.
For Xbox, right.
That's what I'm afraid of, man. I don't want to sit there with a camera pan of studios and developers working on art for 20 minutes. No one needs that.
Right? I hate that. Oh.
Why do you like working here? I get paid. Should be everybody's response. Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
It pays my bills.
I can see the gun off the camera as they uncomfortably answer questions from the PR guy that works. Fucking Lord.
Oh.
Also, to answer, like, I don't even know what Marvelous makes. Marvelous really doesn't kind of make anything. They publish a lot of stuff, though.
Oh, okay. They're publishing.
Like, not as far as I can tell, like, a lot of the games that they have, they're just the publisher for.
Okay.
Oh, no, they made Half Minute Hero. Okay, so they do make stuff, but, yeah, like...
Heard of that. Okay.
They were the original publishers of Deadly Premonition, No More Heroes, Heroes Paradise, which was the, like, PS3 copy. I guess they only did that in Japan, but still... they were a couple of King of Fighters games they published, Harvest Moon, although I think that's after Harvest Moon kind of split into 2 series. But yeah, like a lot of their stuff, they published Contact by Grasshopper. So their names aren't generally the developer, although yeah, I guess they did Harvest Moon for a while.
They mostly do like a lot of farm sim, like Story of Seasons, and which is like the other half of Harvest Moon.
Yeah,
and
so they're the ones.
Yeah. Rune Factory 6 looks good. I like the look of what they were showing out for the trailer, so looking forward to it.
They're a good publisher. It's just if you're like, I don't know what they make, that's because generally they're the ones that are like translating niche games, bringing them over. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about video games. Anthony, do you have anything to talk about?
Not to keep the Zelda thing going. I was just building
a
house. I was building a house. You know what? I'm going to say this.
Wait, you can do that? You can build buildings?
I mean, yes and no. There's a thing that exists where you can build your own house. But outside of that, like I think more than anything, I'm just impressed with how much of this game is or has a story and like has like an ending to it. Like that was a thing that was missing from Breath of the Wild. I just did Lurelin Village, which is like something you kind of have to rebuild because it's destroyed by a bunch of baddies, and so I just did that this morning or last night, one of the two, and like it's neat because like there's a little celebration after you finish doing that. And there's a couple of those events where you go to a town and the town doesn't just exist so there's a shop. Like that was my big issue with Breath of the Wild. So all these villages are there, but you go to Hateno Village and really there was nothing to do there. Yeah, you would get your house there in Breath of the Wild. But ultimately there was not much there. And in this time, not only is there the sort of stuff that pushes your character development along, like, oh, I can get better things here, which was in the first game as well. They have this story that is happening within the village, so it feels like it's a lived-in place, and all these characters have more personality around this time around than the last time, where there's a couple standout characters, but for the most part, like if you talk to someone in a village, they felt like an NPC. And in this, there's like just Hateno alone, for example, like you start to realize like the interpersonal relationships of people in the town. And that's something that when Zelda does it, it's usually really well done. So I'm really glad they brought it back. That's like a reason why Majora's Mask is so high in my list of like Zelda games I love, is because every character in Majora's Mask had some sort of interwoven plot to the rest of the story going on, and that's happening here. It's the same reason why I like Wind Waker. Wind Waker felt very much that same. Everybody's sort of connected, and everybody has like an actual purpose for the most part. Like there's a reason why the characters are named. And I don't know, I appreciate that in open world games where, yeah, all the characters have some sort of purpose just outside of being there for window dressing. And then there's Resident Evil 6. I have no fucking clue what's going on in that game.
What part are you guys at right now? Are you guys on Jim's campaign?
We finished his.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we finished his. And it was wild. Like,
what? I know it sounds weird, but like, when my brain is going, what the fuck is this building for? Like, this makes no goddamn sense. Like, what? Like, I shouldn't be thinking that in a video game, but the whole time I was like, this feels like a place that doesn't exist, and it's like very clearly obvious that this is just video game shit.
Yeah.
Like, none of this feels like an actual building. Like it's a underground laboratory base thing, except that it all looks like the underside of a car that's been like spray coated with like oil, and there's random zombies, but you can't go from room to room, so you have to ride this gigantic thing in the center of this column that has lava at the bottom. And don't you understand how this is all like just a thing that just exists in this world? It's like, no, this is dumb. And it's like, it's the same goes for the zombie shit too. It's like Resident Evil started off with like, here's a bioweapon, right? Like, oh, it's zombies. And then it's like, whoa, it's a bioweapon. And then it's like, okay, you get to 4 and yeah, you're fighting the Plagas and their heads blow off and a little tentacle thing comes out. And you're like, okay, that's gross, but whatever. And then in 6, they're just like, yeah, fuck it. These guys turn into cocoons and then lizards break out of them. And none of this goddamn makes sense. And then top it off with just the dumbest shit of like punching zombies so hard in the face they explode and stuff. Like,
so it took you up to Resident Evil 6 for your suspension of disbelief. Finally kick it, really?
I mean, okay, so 5 is dumb. 5 is dumb, and 4 has got dumb stuff in it too. Fair enough.
6, I feel like, does take 4, it to the next level.
It does.
So let's go through. The first game is a mansion that has like a secret underground base. Sure, okay. 2, same sort of thing. It's a city this time, but like, even though like here's something kind of poignant, I guess is the best way to put it. Even though like there's got some dumb shit in it. Resident Evil 2, the police station. Yeah, it's this old building that like seems way older than the police, probably because it is older than the police station that's now inside of it. But I still believed that was a police station, even with how stupid the layout of the floors could be. Like, I believe that that's a thing that could exist.
I'm with you, Anthony, until at the end of each and every single Resident Evil game, a self-destruct counter kicks off.
Listen,
the place explodes.
I understand. Like, there's a point where, yes, it's dumb. But, like, when I'm looking at a building and I'm like, there's no possible way this fucking thing could exist. And you're just like, so now we're not even... Now we've taken a threat of, like, zombies and dumb bioweapons or whatever, and we moved it so far outside of the thing, like the idea of reality, that, like, what's the fucking... There's no fear anymore. It's just action. And it's not like... And
I would say... Resident Evil 6, the way it kind of goes above and beyond is kind of like that Fast and the Furious moment where they go into space. It goes too far.
Yes.
Too far.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Like, it's the, like, guys turning into bugs.
Jump the shark.
Yeah, oh my fucking God. And you know what? Like, 5 has Chris Redfield, who's smuggling watermelons in his arms, punch rocks. And somehow that seems like, when I look at that and I go, that at least makes more sense than whatever the fuck is happening here. Like, that's a weird statement to make. And, like, the fact that the guys have injected themselves with a thing that turns them into bug monsters is just, like, can we sell this as, like, they didn't know that was going to happen? Because they seem all too aware and fine with that fact.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a fucking
fun
trip.
though.
Oh, listen, yeah. I can't imagine playing this alone.
No,
if I wasn't playing with Terrence, it would probably be a boring time.
My first playthrough was alone, and I did not have a great time. Which campaign are you guys going to next?
We've already started the Chris and his new best friends. That's how we
finished the first 2 chapters.
Something like that. I hate the character you're playing.
I take it Leon is your favorite. Is Leon's the best chapter?
Honestly, I think Jake is probably the most fun because of the whole melee stuff that Jake can do. And, there's a lot of fucking crazy things going on, and they have the Pursue character. Leon is probably the most balanced of the bunch, but it plays it safer than the other campaigns. And I think Chris's campaign it just feels like a first-person shooter a lot of times because you have so much ammunition and your job is to just blow everything in your path away.
Yeah, that's where it definitely feels like that. Like, because we had to fight those giant monsters that melted into the puddle of Clayface. That was, like, there's ammo everywhere. Like, we got machine guns and sniper rifles. Like, he's basically freaking Doom guy out here.
Yep. I mean, despite all the hate that Resident Evil 6 gets for, like, almost killing the series and stuff like that, I never thought it was, like, a terrible game. I never I once thought that. I think, like I said, it's fucking Fast and the Furious in space. It went too far kind of deal. Overall, in the tone of the game, it did too much. But in terms of the sheer amount of content that you get in one game, Resident Evil 6 just can't be matched in terms of the amount of money and time they put into all these different campaigns and different gameplay experiences and stuff. So I think it's definitely worth playing through once, especially if you got a co-op partner. So I'm glad you guys are having a good time. But there is a very good reason why Resident Evil 7 took it back to its roots, and you can kind of see why.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
For sure.
Like,
also took Chris Redfield back to his roots. He was a skinny little man in that Resident Evil 7.
We were talking about that. We were like, man, it's crazy how Chris started off as this skinny dude, and now he got this swole ass neck. Like, his whole head is huge. And
yeah, but that's changed. That's changed like 3 times. Like, he was little in the first game, then he was huge in 5.
And then they brought him back down a little bit for 6.
Well, he shrunk to a tiny man in 7.
Yo, I know that, but they took him back from, like, smuggling watermelons to, like, ex-watermelon smuggler. in fucking 6, and then in 7 he doesn't even look the same.
Yeah, and then
You know
in
what?
8, he's fucking huge again.
Yeah.
I think it's time that we talk about Chris's addiction to steroids.
Yeah, dudes be doing some peds, that's for sure.
All right, clearly he's got a problem where he sometimes he's on it, sometimes he's off. We need to talk about it.
Resident Evil 9,
Sorry.
Chris Redfield is a child. You don't even know.
Uh,
All right, what else? Anything else? What else?
Man, please, Zelda's got too much of my time.
Oh, well, let's transfer right into Terrence there because he only played Zelda that
That's it.
he could talk about.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, well, I think y'all know I'm reviewing Diablo 4, but I can't talk about it, so you gotta wait to read the review. But yeah, it's Zelda. Between that and Zelda, that's all I've played. And it's crazy because, on this very show, talk like WWE on this very stage, but no, I talked about that I wasn't gonna mess with it. I was like, nah, I'm cool, man, because stuff be breaking and shit, and I ain't even gonna mess with it. Man, I done put probably like 20, 30 hours in this game.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It's so good. Like, this morning, because I was like, all right, I'm going to get on here for a minute and just hit up this shrine and do a couple of shrines and then hop off and write this Diablo review. I looked around, it's 4 hours later. I'm like, oh my God. Like, there's so much stuff to do and everything is interesting. Like, I've not come to an area or a spot where I'm like, I don't want to see what's down there. Like, I always go check it out. Like, everything. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you gotta turn off your updates. You gotta turn off your updates.
I don't have my updates on.
Oh, I already did that. Yeah. I'm at the 1.1.
Nintendo out here trying to kill everybody's fun of duping diamonds. Stop it.
Right?
You know what? I normally wouldn't do something like that, but their economy sucks. So fuck you. I'm not gonna deal with this.
I don't normally do that stuff either, but I feel like I don't know, like it's not a multiplayer game. Like I don't feel like I'm spoiling the experience by doing it because I'm not like because you have to find I guess this really good armor and the really good stuff anyway. But like you can use the rupees to buy some stuff in the meantime. But yeah, I don't like I've duped some bomb flowers and stuff because I was caught in a cave and I didn't have anything to destroy a wall or whatever.
You dupe bomb flowers? Doesn't it blow up the moment you try to dupe them using the paraglider trick? Because it lands on the ground?
It does if you... and I learned this the hard way. That it blows up. So if you do one round of it and then drop, you're fine. But if you try to do multiple in the air, they explode.
That's clever. That's what... I thought it was the fall that was exploding it, but it's just contact with each other.
It's contact. If you hit the other one. So, yeah. So I learned it the hard way. This game is... So I went and did this one, like, side quest... on this bird cave or whatever after I defeated the wind temple or whatever, and I found this whole broken this area of broken rocks, and I'm like breaking through and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna find something good. I discover a giant skeleton boss and I'm like,
I was expecting horror blins. Blins. My favorite is when I open up a hole and there's just horror blins waiting for me, and I'm like, God,
that has happened.
They're not even hard. It's just one of those. I'm gonna have to fight you now.
Yep, and that's the thing too. Like I more often than not run from fights, and it's crazy for me because I'm like the combat king. But like in this, I don't want to fight everything. Go ahead.
I have gotten to the point where I'm like, come and fight me. It's going to be really bad for you. Because I have, I use my amiibos, and I have a fully upgraded set of the Twilight Princess armor.
Oh, nice.
And I have Ganon's, or the sword that they pierce Ganon through the chest with in Twilight Princess as well.
Dang.
And then I took a Bokoblin horn and stuck it onto that sword, and it does a ton of damage, and it has a really good level for hitting. Gotcha. So it doesn't break. It does a lot of damage and doesn't break. It's got a good durability. I also have in my house now 3 of these swords from other games. So I have the Ganon's, the sword that they pierce him with in Twilight Princess. I have the Bigoron sword. And I have the Fierce Deity sword all on display.
Man, clearly I need to find some amiibos. Just, good lord, I didn't
Highly
realize you
recommended.
get.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
see, I'm still I think I have 6 hearts. I think I have like almost a full second ring of stamina. But I haven't found like the great fairies yet. Like they keep telling me that there's one outside of
They're
one of the
all outside of
stables.
stables, all 4 of them.
Okay. Okay, yeah, but I haven't headed that way yet because I keep getting sidetracked. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, and then I end up in the depths, or I end up on the Sky Island. And I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get to this Great Fairy. So, but yeah, I love this game, and I'm so happy that I listened to y'all and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check it out because man,
I don't
God,
know.
it's good.
As many great games are coming out this year, I don't know what game could dethrone this as the best game of the year. It's that fucking good.
Me either. Yeah, and there is so much like because we'll talk about it later. I'm sure you got Spider-Man coming, Starfield,
Diablo
like,
is Friday.
Diablo, right? Diablo, like there's so much good stuff.
Wait, Ken. MK1?
Yeah.
Really?
MK1
Zelda's
is
gonna be
coming.
MK1, you think?
Like the fighting
For
game,
you?
like
I don't
For
know.
you?
I don't know. It's
That'd be a first. That'd be a first.
It's gonna be hard. I need to see MK. We'll see MK in like what 3 weeks?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm loving Zelda, and I don't know what's going to dethrone it. It's going to be a hard year for Game of the Year this
I
year.
do have a
think.
question for you, Terrence. So I know that you didn't really get into Breath of the Wild. Did you try it and you didn't like what you were playing, or you just kind of heard about it and didn't really feel like you wanted to try it because of all the durability stuff?
So I played a good deal of it. Like I got the Master Sword. I didn't actually beat the story. Like I actually got the Master Sword. Like I did a bunch of shrines and had the Master Sword and that stuff. But then even it broke. Like because I thought that at the time that it would be the invincible sword that wouldn't break. And I don't know. Like the combat and stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is now in this. But my mindset then was, I guess, old Terrence, where I just wanted to go fuck everything up. And it didn't vibe with me in Breath of the Wild for whatever reason. I don't know, but this clicked for I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the fusing system really plays off the durability a lot because the way that you can enhance your weapons and items, and if you think about it, just by having a bunch of weapon parts on you and literally picking up any stick or whatever off the ground, which is plentifully available, you can basically stick it on there, increase the attack tremendously using the monster parts, which you have a lot of if you've been doing fighting. So you never really have to worry about being stuck in a situation where your weapons and stuff like that are gone and you're having to poke away with them with like something that does like almost no damage. So it ends up doing a good job in that regard. So that's kind of the reason why I don't agree when people say, hey, if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, you probably won't like Tears of the Kingdom. Because I think they're fundamentally different in the way that they balance out the durability system. So if that was a huge negative on your on the game that that made it so that you didn't like it, you might actually end up liking Tears of the Kingdom a lot more, just like you did, just like a lot of other people did too. So
yeah, I would definitely agree because I find that I always have a melee weapon, like something on me, and then like you said, there's always something, a rock. There's something nearby that you can fuse to it. But what I end up running out of is actually bows. Like I'm always like without a bow, and I'm like, shit. So, but yeah, I loving it. Absolutely loving this game. So,
right.
but yeah, that's it. So I got mine.
All right. Well, I'll move on to Jay then. Hopefully you got something because I ain't got shit either. I'm just saying.
I have a couple of other things. I mean, it's been a while since I've been on the show, and I've obviously played a lot of games in between. I do keep like a track of the games that I do complete on the Twitter thing, but I'm gonna only touch on games that I played very, very recently. But I'm gonna actually piggyback off the whole Zelda discussion real quick, just to kind of go over my thoughts that I've completed the game, and I've basically done what I want to do. I think I have like 30 hearts. I have stamina fully maxed out. I have a fully maxed out, equipment that gives me like attack up boost, and there's a tons of resources and stuff like that. I even let the game update because I don't really care about duping at this point anymore. But in terms of the game, I feel like it's very, 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 very good. There's no doubt about it. There's nothing that anyone can possibly say. And the fact that it was able to dominate my free time as it did, I basically only played this game for 2 weeks, which is incredible considering all the different stuff that I normally play. But at the same time, when I see like a game getting perfect scores, I know that people have different opinions on what a perfect game is or perfect score game is, but I just don't see it in terms of a perfect game, because the game is held back by a few notable gameplay and mechanics decisions in terms of how the stages are used. I'm not going to go into any specifics, but when you do get a stage, they're activated and they're always, on unless you turn them off manually, and you have to go over to them to activate their power. Previously, you would be able to activate their power by doing a certain action, or it would trigger automatically during certain circumstances. But when you have multiple stages around, they're actually like trying to have a formation around you. So if you try to go to a person, like for example, like Sidon gives you a very nice bubble, which can nullify one hit of basically anything. Incredibly powerful. Very, very good to use for the tougher encounters and stuff like that. But if I want to activate that power, now I have to try to like zoom out, try to rotate, and try to find out where he happens to be standing at the time and go over to him while he's actively trying to run away from me to try to keep formation. It's a really bad way to use that mechanic. It should have been something like a button that you can hold down and press like a button or something like that activates the power, and then you wouldn't have to worry about misclicking things when you're trying to do other things. And I'm not sure if this has happened to anyone else that also has the wind power. I tried to go pick up some items on the ground after I kill something, and then I accidentally activate the power because the stage to be on top of the stuff that I want to grab, and then boom, just wind blows it off the cliff. I'll never see that stuff
That
again.
happens to me all the time, and it pisses me off. I'm like, would you move? Like, why are you standing right there? That's the only stage I have so far is the wind one.
Yeah, it's actually, honestly, if I think about it in terms of just like general usage, I think I get the most usage out of him. Do you know about the cancel to get additional speed?
I do not, no.
Oh, okay, so I'll let you guys know. So when you use his power while you're gliding, if you actually go into shoot mode, go back to gliding, go into shoot mode, and go back to gliding again, so twice of rotation, you'll get a burst of speed. That's like double the amount of speed that you're getting horizontally.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, you can use that trick to...
Nintendo gonna patch that out, just watch.
Dude, that's been around since from the very beginning, and they haven't passed it out yet. So
true, but there's not YouTube. There's not YouTube videos about like tons of them of how to do it. So like as soon as Nintendo gets no pun intended, as soon as Nintendo gets wind of it, it's gone.
maybe no fun allowed. But regardless, I use that. Thank you, Terrence. I use that all the time, and that's very good. So that has some problems too, and when you get to these stages and you complete a temple, the cutscene are oftentimes kind of like your reward, right, for doing a thing and whatnot. But in this game specifically, the way it's structured, they show you basically the same exact cutscene every single time you beat a temple. It's very weird the way they handle that. I kind of understand from a narrative perspective because that could have been your first temple that you could have gone there, right? So it wouldn't make any sense, but the POVs are nearly identical. So you're doing these temples, and they're basically the same exact thing that they've shown you multiple times. And then you get this power that's kind of really clumsy to use. And on top of that, there's the whole issue with performance. And I know that they have done a miraculous job in basically even getting this game to run on Switch. So no shade on that part. But this game is too big for the Switch. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
There are parts in the game where I'm just crawling. I'm trying to time things like perfect dodges and parries and things that make the combat more, in-depth and more enjoyable. But it makes doing those things much, much more difficult, and in that regard, much less satisfying to do, because it feels like I'm not in control, as much as I ought to be. and that's just kind of the way it is. So when I see people putting like 10s on this game, that means none of these things have detracted from their experience at all, and I don't see how that is. This is it's a fantastic game. If I reviewed it, I probably would have given it, like, I don't know, like a 9.5 or 9, depending on what point of the review that I was doing it on. But I don't know. It just feels weird to me, man. What a perfect game ought to be. Like, for example, what do you guys think a perfect game in your definition needs to be in order to get that coveted, perfect score?
See, for me, I don't think there's such a thing. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a perfect game. To me, when I hand out a 10, it means that I will be talking about this game 20 years from now. That's how I feel.
So the impact and timelessness means a lot more to you than the actual, I guess. I understand what you mean. What about you, Terrence? What do you feel in that regard?
I'm pretty basically the same, because I gave the original Mass Effect game, actually on this very site, a 10. And if you remember, that game had bugs and all kind. Like, it was a struggle. But that game was a masterpiece. It was a fantastic. Even with those issues that you ran up against, that game was still fantastic. So yeah, I'm actually, I guess I'm where Ken is as far as 10s are concerned.
Okay, Anthony, you here?
What?
I sound like shit because I'm using headphones on my phone because my computer wanted an update. Perfect timing.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, a perfect game. I mean, I've handed out my fair share of 10s, probably more than I should for the amount of time I've been writing. But like, if I quickly think about it, the 10s I've handed out are like Resident Evil 2 remake, which again is one of the few that I think I would change probably to a 9.5 because I still think that game is great, but there's a few things that, like, knowing what the original did now and what this version didn't do. But the other two that I've done a 10 for, Unravel 2, which I still think is the best of those types of games, the puzzle platformer, cinematic platformer. And I know that Tinykin, I think, was the most recent one I did. And I think Tinykin was perfect for what it... And that's the other thing. Like, perfect for what it's going for is a big thing. And I think you're right, Jay. Like, on a technical level, I've been able to forgive it a bit more with Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild, I think, is a rougher game. But like, technically, like, I found it stuttered more. I haven't had too many issues, but if I did run into more issues, yeah, like, there's some stuff that's like not perfect with Tears of the Kingdom. But again, I don't think 10 is a perfect of all games ever. I think it's did everything you plan to do work as well as you hoped it did. And like, I think it's a 9.5 for Tears of the Kingdom, not because I'm having technical issues. I just don't think the building system is, like, there's certain things that it can't do. Like, you can only stick from one point. So if you're building something a bit more advanced, you can only have 1 point stick. So say I have two L shapes, like I have like a long board and then like a small 2x4 or something on it. If I have two of those and I try to stick them to each other, it's only either going to stick on like one edge or the other. Like, it just doesn't work. And
I've noticed that too. It gets kind of annoying.
And I think that's from trying to be a little bit more freeform with what the system could do, because there's like a reason why Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts works as a bunch of cubes. Everything was sort of like a cube that you would put together, even if it wasn't like an actual cube shape. And that's how you kind of circumvent that issue, so the car doesn't fall apart while you're driving.
So what you're saying is that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is better than Tears of the Kingdom. Objectively,
in the building department, yes. In the rest of the game, no. And I like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, but I can't say that game is perfect either. But I'd probably be more kind to it than other people, because to me, that game still does something that a lot of other games have not tried. Zelda being like one of three that I think I can think of. So
Okay, I think I have a good idea, and I think I'm closer to you, Anthony, in terms of what I believe a game deserves a 10 out of 10. I think if it fulfills everything that it does, it sets out to do, and executes on it perfectly, I think that's what a 10 out of 10 game to me. The only 10 out of 10 game that I've given so far officially on ZTGD, I think, is Undertale. Because not so much I don't think it's the best game ever created. I think it just sets out to do every single thing that it goes out to do perfectly. And on top of that, I don't think there is anything that I can add to it or change in that game to make it a better experience than what I had. And that's kind of what it is. Like, is there something that they can do to make the game better to execute on their vision? And I think if the answer is no, and it's so very, very, very rarely a no, because they're in games with the ambition that they have and so many different mechanics, it's difficult to line them all up. It's like a solar eclipse times 1,000. It's ridiculous. But at the same time, I understand what Ken and Terrence were talking about, because our criteria of what makes a perfect game is different, right? So that's good. That's good. I think a lot of people more in line think in the way that Terrence and Ken does in regards to that score, and in that way, I think it's totally justified in the score that they give. But I'm always curious as to like what people think in regards to scores and stuff like that. And because we have like different criteria and ideas about what deserves what and what score amounts to what, I think the score for game systems and movies and stuff like that are very weird and difficult to navigate, but that's a whole other topic for another time. Which we've delved into before. But that's Zelda. I thought it was fantastic. I may go back to it at a certain point, especially if they release DLC. I assume that they will. But for now, I'm gonna put it aside and finish off my other review game, which is Advance Wars 1+2, and that's a game I've known about forever, and it had that very unfortunate timing with like the war and all this violence and stuff like that going on that made it delays for so long, even though the game was practically ready for release. So getting to finally play it has been a bit of a treat, because I never really played them on the handheld devices. But at the same time, I don't see where it gets like very advanced. I'm like maybe 5-6 hours into the first game so far, and having a good enough time. I don't think it's like amazing or anything like that, but it's solid. It introduces decent amount of mechanics. I don't particularly care about the characters and the storyline. It feels very Saturday morning cartoonish to me, which isn't bad by itself, but it's just not something that I'm particularly invested in now. Maybe I will more so in the future, but it just seems like a very simple game overall. A bit of a tug-of-war kind of situation, because if you plan to play this game in a situation where you take no damage or, lose no units, I think this is probably one game where you probably can't do that, especially like not taking damage. That sounds insane, because everything counterattacks, feels like. But it's okay. I'm going to play the first game to completion, put enough time into 2, and then I'll write my review. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe the second game really turns up the heat and goes to somewhere, but remains to be seen.
I think you're going to be disappointed if you're not familiar with those games. Not like disappointed in a sense of these games are bad. I just think because you play Fire Emblem, you're going to be disappointed because it's not as deep, which is kind of the reason why people were asking for Advance Wars to come back, because they were pretty simplistic and easy to learn sort of strategy RPGs. And of course the bright colors. I don't know if I love the redesigns, like the new models that I saw for it, because like a lot of it was like this really just crisp, bright pixel art that looked like a cartoon, and it's like, well, when you can just kind of do a cartoon, is it as appealing, because you're kind of losing the awe of it being done, with pixels.
Anthony, I know exactly what you mean, because did you play the Ace Attorney games?
Oh yeah, the HD versions have a lot missing. There's a minor. Or I have to say it because it bothers me so. If you play the HD versions of the Phoenix Wright trilogy, the one that has a ventriloquist, I guess they traced over the sprites to do the new graphic design. However, the ventriloquist in the original moves his mouth when the dummy talks, right? Because of course his mouth is going to move just a little. You just see a little bit of his lip twitch.
Mhm.
Like that's how much detail they put into the sprite work. When they did it for the HD version, they didn't do that detail.
Oh.
So it just looks like the puppet is talking to you, and it's like, well, that's not the joke. The joke is that it's always been him. There isn't a question. Everybody knows that it's him, except for the
Yeah.
people in the circus. And it's like, oh, God.
And like how competent he is actually goes into the story in terms of like how people view him as a performer, right? So
Yeah,
omitting that
yeah.
detail actively changes the narrative of the story in some ways. It's just not
and
just
then that's already
superficial stuff.
and that's already one of the worst fucking things, and like that's one of the worst missions in Ace Attorney. And I was thinking when I was mentioning it, oh God, there was. I have now lost it. Where there was another game where they did that, where they removed the sprite work, and I went, oh, okay. Very, very much like it loses all charm. Fuck, I don't remember which one it was. No,
There have been a lot of these remakes and other stuff like that. So I know what you mean, and I'm glad you feel that way because I feel that same way. I'm not sure if it's just nostalgia playing on this because we played the original within its original hardware with its janky sprites and 144p resolution and all this nonsense. So we've seen it how it was originally, and then there is a lot of things when you blow something that was meant for such a tiny screen and redraw it and trace it down and make it too clean that it loses a lot of the charm and some of the detail even. So that's kind of what I feel with Advance Wars 2, which is, it is what it is. It's just the way of making it available, but at the same time, would it have been that big of a deal for them to have like a little toggle? A lot of games have that where you can switch back and forth between the old style and the new style and stuff. And I wish that was more of a standard in these remakes and remasters than an outlier. And the other games that I've been playing is have you guys been playing, or any of you played Dread yet?
I played the demo on
I still have
Switch.
the demo. Yeah.
Yeah. What you guys think of the demo?
I have not played it. I download the demo. I have it. I keep having to find time to do it, and then Zelda is on, and I'm like, wow.
Zelda, yep.
Zelda
And
does
it's sad
everything.
because Dredge sounds like my type of horror game as someone that doesn't like deep water.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's it's fishing is what you're doing. But it's catching the different like creatures and stuff, and then the demo doesn't go too deep. It's only like 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 3 islands that you can go between, so you can't get too far. But there's like a little bit of a mystery that you kind of unravel. I didn't finish all of it, but I was going to end up picking it up on Xbox at some point. But I've liked what I played for sure.
Okay. Ken, were you gonna say something?
No, I didn't play it.
Okay. So yeah, I like these kind of games. Something about having a boat and fishing is just kind of chill to me. Even though I'm not a particular big fan of like deep water myself. I've had some experiences where I did it to myself. Honestly, because I got bored and we were like rafting, and I just kind of flipped the damn thing over because nothing was happening. And it turns out flipping a raft back over in the water is actually incredibly difficult, nearly impossible. As it turned out. And we basically ended up hanging on to our raft for dear life for like 30 minutes with all manner of things, like kind of like touching our legs and stuff like that over time. So I was like, that was not pleasant, but
So you're that guy. Got it. All right.
Well, if you have the opportunity to go rafting with me, which won't happen because I don't want to go anymore, don't go. Because I get bored easily in situations like that, and I want something to happen. But yeah, so there is that, and you know how it is with a lot of horror, especially like the cosmic eldritch horror kind of business with like Cthulhu and stuff like that. I'm into that shit. It's, to me, from a horror standpoint, where the unknowable, something that you can't even comprehend, it makes you go insane and stuff like that. All that stuff is fascinating to me because always what you imagine is always gonna be more, scary and horrifying than what you can see on a fucking monitor screen, right? So I like kind of the fact that it builds into that a little bit more. But there's also like a pretty flexible like fishing system where you're constantly upgrading the amount of storage you have, how fast you're going, and all this other stuff, and how terrifying it could be when you find yourself kind of out in the dark. If you didn't like pace your time well, or if there's no dock nearby, it can be actually very scary. And things can kill you in like 1 or 2 hits or something like that. So it's pretty good. So the overall vibe and the gameplay was fun. I just thought that it was a little too short. I think I beat the game in like 8 or 9 hours. And there is 2 different endings that you can get, but I felt like I got all the upgrades by like hour 6, and I was just kind of going through the motions at that point. So if they added a couple of more gameplay elements and went a little further with the story and added more characters and stuff like that, I think this could have been a really, really interesting thing. But it kind of steps one right before it gets to that height. But still easy to recommend, especially if you can get it at a discount. The other game that I've been playing, and actually, now that I look at it, I guess I've been in a bit of a horror mood lately, because the other game I played is Paranormal Sight. And you guys play it or heard about it yet?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I am interested in playing it, but I have so many visual novel stuff that I have to do first that I'm like, I'm not gonna pick this up to have it sit on the back burner as well.
The smart choice, No, what about you, Ken? You heard of this one?
I've heard of it. Not my jam.
Yeah, I know you don't like the visual novels and stuff like that. I swear, man.
He goes, reading? Nah.
I did enough of that in school.
That's right. Books are for nerds.
As soon as he sees the subtitles, he's like, fuck this game.
They're not speaking my language. Fuck this shit.
Oh no, they're speaking English. He sees that they're subtitles, and he's just offended by the fact that they would have them on automatically.
Despite the fact that they can turn them off, right?
Yeah,
I go on Twitter and holler about it because that's what I do.
The libs are adding subtitles.
They're trying to get me to read. My brain, my choice.
That's right.
Own the libs. Yeah, sounds like a very real tweet that exists somewhere out there.
I'm scared that it's eerily accurate, truthfully.
There's actually there's a lot of backlash and things that are in their original language with subtitles. There's a lot of people that get in arms about that. They're like, dubs are nothing kind of deal, and they have the same mentality. They don't want to read. And I get it to some point. Like, there is a certain immersion that you lose when you're reading stuff instead of just kind of taking in the entirety of the screen. So I get that, but making it out to be something more than just personal choice is always very silly to me. But the Paranormal Sight, I think, Anthony, you're on the money here. This is one that I think you would probably like because this is a horror mystery, supernatural mystery, and it plays unlike most other visual novel games that I played. And what I mean by that is that normally when you're playing a visual novel game, there's characters on the screen, there's a background behind them, there's a text bar thing, you read the text, you go to the next, and then that's basically it in terms of your interactivity. You make some choices that kind of branch out the different things that can happen, and that is also similar to what happens in Paranormal Sight, but the big difference is that you're kind of in like a 3D space most of the time, and while you can't move where you are, you're free to look around almost 360 from where you are. And there are a lot of scares and suspense that's built just by that addition. Because there's a situation, and this is very early on in the game, so it's not spoiling much, is that you're talking to this woman in the park, and you guys are looking for some like supernatural mystery, that's kind of native to this environment. And she looks scared. She goes pale, and she's pointing right behind you. So in a game like a visual novel that's like standard, then you would just click a button, and you would instantly turn 180, and then you'll be looking at what's behind you. But in here, you have to make the choice to ever so slightly turn your camera around just by inch, just a little bit by little bit, to see what's going on. And it adds so much tension to the experience as like a horror game. And I never really thought about it as something that could add so much, but there are so many scenarios that it plays into that, where you might be talking to somebody, just kind of having a casual conversation, and over in the corner of a distance, you can see a shadow of a person or something hiding by a tree. And you could have completely missed it, but if you actually are paying attention to the environment around you, you'll see a lot of the weird stuff happening. And in terms of the story, it's also interesting because there are these curses that's native to this place. And these curse stones have the ability to grant its wielder the power related to that curse. For example, there is a curse where someone was kind of burned to death for committing a crime, or kind of falsely being accused of burning down a thing, right? And if you are holding that curse stone, and if you're the wielder, then you can, if another person is holding something that can create fire, set them on fire and kill them instantaneously. So if you are trying to kill someone, it will be a simple matter for you to either hide a lighter or like a pocket match or something like that in their pocket, or put it into an inconspicuous place where they are likely to pick it up and take it for themselves, and then use your curse to kill them. And each of the curses have their own lore-specific activation, and then the curse wielders are trying to kill each other, because it is said that if you collect enough souls, you are able to bring someone back to life that that has died or something like that. And you can kill regular people and get souls, but you get a lot more by killing other curse wielders. So you're kind of in like a death match with other people that can kill you, and you don't know what their powers are, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. But these curse stones have a thing where it changes your perspective. So a regular person would normally pick up this curse and understand what it does, and probably not use it because they're not. Oh, am I still here, guys?
Oh, you died for a second, but you were back.
Yeah. My headset got out of whack. But anyway, so it sets up this really interesting battle royale situation, and you're trying to kill the other curse, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. On top of that, there is this fourth wall breaking narrative where there is a character called the narrator that is kind of guiding you through these branching stories of different characters that are taking place all at once as you kind of switch to their perspectives, playing out their stories and changing the outcome to change the other scenarios for other characters and whatnot. But he knows a lot more than what he leads on. So the first thing that he does is basically say like, hey, go ahead and write down your name for the contract so that I can guide you. You write down your name, but instead of calling you by the name that you write down, he actually refers to you by your profile name for Steam. So there are a lot of those kind of moments where they break the fourth wall and kind of like reach into like your own personal life and other stuff of that nature. And there are scenarios where you have to literally go into the game settings and turn down like the voice volume, for example, because one of the curse wielders activates the curse by making you hear the voice of the curse. And if you hear it, then you die. So by actually going into the game settings and turning off the voice, you can actually negate that guy's power. So
okay, you're selling me on this more, Jay. You motherfucker. Yeah.
I know you would like this.
I was interested in it when I saw it, and it looked like it had a different setup. Again, it was just a timing thing of like, I have so many visual novels I want to play that I just can't take another one right now.
Just put it on your wish list, dude. Just pick it up during like a half off sale later down the line. Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned something specific, and I love when they do that, because visual novels are generally very static.
Yes.
So the fact that they have stuff happening kind of in the peripheral of what's going on, like, that's a great thing. I was really that was actually one of the things I was really impressed with Famicom Detective Club. One of them, you're talking to somebody, And again, you don't usually see stuff like this. You see someone peek out from behind the wall, like in the background of the conversation you're having. So there's just a big fuck off sprite right there talking to you, and then in the background, stuff is happening still. And I'm like, I wonder if they did that back in the day, and they did. They did that on the fucking Famicom. And I don't know. It's just like I just can't believe like that stuff doesn't happen more. Where it's just these little things you can notice. Like you have this big screen, you have these great big detailed like pictures of people, and then you do nothing with the background. It's always like just anytime somebody does that, it's like okay, this person's like really trying to build tension and stuff.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice. That sells me more on the Famicom because I didn't know it had that kind of elements too. So that's on my wish list.
It's still those games are still very basic. But I was really impressed with the stories of them. Like I was surprised that they decided like Nintendo would have something sort of so mature. Because it's not like mature as in like, whoa, you're cutting off this guy's head and stuff. It's like, no, this is about an actual murder and you are investigating it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. And that's not something I'd thank Nintendo for, but god damn it. Parent, fuck it. God damn it. I'm going to end up buying this stupid thing.
Well, sorry for, recommending a good game to you and selling, not sorry, actually. But, yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm playing this on the Steam Deck. I play it at nighttime with the window open, just kind of laying down in my bed, and I can't tell you the number of times I've, looked outside my window because it felt like there was someone staring at me from outside while I was playing the game, so it's, making me nice and paranoid about everything, which is really nice. Yeah, just the spoof factor is just really high for a visual novel game, so really enjoying this game. I'm about 4 or 5 hours in so far. I'm going to keep playing it and finish it. But yeah, that does it for me.
All right, well, I'd love to tell you that I have all kinds of awesome and interesting games to talk about, but I really don't. I was going to go through the indie games, and, I sat here and I thought to myself, I'm like, did I play any of those that were really interesting? And the answer was no. So, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. Instead, I'll talk. I finally was able to write my review, and I can now talk about Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Give me that. Please, God, tell me it was good.
It's very good. It is just Doom, and I don't say that lightly. Like, you start the game and all you
Doom
have...
Doom 2016.
No. I'm talking Doom, as in 1993 Doom.
Okay.
Where you start the game off and all you have is a chainsaw. And you just basically murder people till you get a gun. It is done in the same structure, where there are episodes, and each episode is a series of levels, and after every level it tells you how many enemies you killed, how many items you picked up, and how many secrets you found.
Whoa, wait, hold up, player, hold up. You say you start out with a chainsaw? You mean, is it a chainsaw, or is it the chainsaw sword thing?
It's a chainsaw sword, and you literally just you pull the left trigger, and you lock onto a dude, and then you turn him into pixelated giblets.
Nice.
And it's glorious. Like, the story moves so fast that you can't even pay attention to it. You got this little skull that floats around with you, and he basically just makes comments about the world. But most of the time, you're literally just popping heads and finding secrets, and that's what it is. It's very good. There's a lot of cool weapons. It's really built so you go back to it and try to complete it on harder difficulties. It's not a long game. It took me less than 10 hours to finish it. But obviously you go back on different difficulties. It's fun. If you like Warhammer and you like Doom, there's literally zero reason not to buy this, because that's exactly what it is, and it's a really good version of one of those.
Cool.
The other two games I'm reviewing I can't talk about yet. I think I mentioned last week Raiden 3, which is weird because I already reviewed Raiden 4. So going backwards. And I'm playing Super Mega Baseball 4. Which I could talk about on Tuesday, and I finally got Trackmania downloaded. I kept telling myself I'm going to go play this, because they dropped this 2 weeks ago and then just never talked about it again. And I've always enjoyed Trackmania. It's still fun. It's free to play, which sucks, because it limits you to what you can play. So every day you can play different tracks, and that's kind of crappy. I'm not paying for it because I don't enjoy it that much. So, but it's Trackmania, which is always good. And then I spent most of the rest of my time playing Zelda. Obviously, still kind of grinding along.
I thought you were basically done with Zelda. You're kind of doing more like side stuff, I guess.
Well, I'm running around the world right now because I have that mission to go to the castle because I've completed all 4 temples, and I just haven't done it yet. Like, like I went over there once and I went inside and I was like, you know what? I'm not ready to do this yet. I'm gonna wait. So I still need to finish it, like, complete the main quest. I haven't done that yet, so I've just been running around. I was, to talk about the item dupe and Nintendo trying to steal everybody's fun. It's taken me 3 hours almost to max my batteries, duping items. Can you imagine how long it would take to max your batteries if you could not dupe items?
Yeah, the battery system is one of the worst fucking things. Because you have to trade them to one guy.
Yeah,
to get a thing to then trade him to another guy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And you can only trade certain.
That last night.
Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, no. You know what? No, it wouldn't. I was gonna say it'd be one thing if it was like right next to each other. No, go fuck yourself. Why are these 2 separate things?
Yeah, it's a really tedious process.
So do you have to get the like triangle ones from in the depths? And then go up to the dude.
There's a place up in the sky too where you can buy them, but it's just like you have to. Okay. You ran past it. Like you've definitely been there.
Yeah, it's literally in the tutorial. It's in the cave.
Yeah, you can't miss it. But it's just like it is because even if you trade them in there, you still have to go up and find the other guy. I think there's multiple places where you can get them redone, but it's just like fuck.
It's awful.
Oh, I did find that in the tutorial island. Okay, yeah. It is time consuming. Like I did it once, so I did that last night. Like I have like 1 battery segment. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I was like, nah, fuck this. This is gonna take a long time.
Yeah. Even with duping it, you have to fucking keep going back because they also limit the amount that you can get at one point in time.
Yeah,
you have to wait. You have to go back and sleep. You have to go back and sleep to restock the inventory of the charges.
Oh, I thought it was after a blood moon. Okay.
Nope. Just go back and sleep till morning, and then he'll restock the 5 charges that he gives you, which gives you 100, which gives you 1/3 of a battery.
Yeah, like, bruh. It takes so long.
I've been duping large zoanite for like 2 hours. It's oh, so no.
And then they're like, yeah, we're gonna patch that out. Go fuck yourself. I know everybody's like, I don't want to do more Korok shit, and that they're being so fucking stingy with Koroks in this goddamn game because they want to give you 2 for all those ones you have to transport. Fuck those guys. It shouldn't have packed as much.
I did that before. That was the last thing I did when I turned it off today. Like, I ran across one of those dudes, was like, oh, my friend's over there. And I was like, look, fucking guy, I don't know why you even packed all this stuff.
Attach a rocket to him, hit the rocket, watch him fucking fly into the distance, go, it's not my problem.
You can do that?
You can do that, because it is literally, so one of my biggest complaints is like when somebody tasks you to do something and you don't do it the way that they want you to do it, it resets it. Like when you have to carry the band up to the ferry towers, like if you hit a bump the wrong way, they're like, oh no, we gotta start over. At least the little fat dudes carrying the stuff, you could just shoot them across the map and they just fucking land and giggle, and it's like, okay, let's keep going.
I'm gonna start doing that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because one, I had to build, like I built a wagon, and then like I had to get the little thing on my horse. I guess I didn't have to do all that. I was like, oh, I guess the game is telling me I need to. But shit, I have a bunch of them rockets. I'm gonna start doing that.
Well, I mean, you still gotta get him to where he needs to go. You can't just shoot him into the moon and finish the mission.
Oh yeah, I know. We're right. But I mean, if it's within distance, we're gonna set up a rocket.
Yeah. As long as you don't lose him in the process, you're fine.
Yeah, I got you.
Created a specific model of the hover bike that can accommodate the shrine stones that you kind of find out in the wild, and also Korok. So it's like a 4-fan hover bike design that I made, which is not that complex, but it does a job. So you can just stick them onto the back propeller and just kind of basically fly them to where they need to go, and that's what I've been using for all of them.
There's because I've remembered, there was one that I did, so even near Eventide Island, because I was kind of heading out that way, there's these what are the fucking glow flowers called?
Bright blooms?
Bright Bloom, yeah. There's a bunch of Bright Blooms, and they're floating in the water, and you have to follow them to a cave to save a guy. That's the longest fucking boat ride I had to goddamn do. That when I was done, I turned around, I dropped a rocket on the ground, attached it to the boat as I was leaving, and just fucking had that rocket blast me out of the fucking cave. Because I was just like, I am so done with this goddamn driving of this goddamn boat. Ugh.
There's a lot of tedium in this game of like, you can see your goal, but we're gonna make it like the slow. One of the things I absolutely despise is when you do a combat dungeon or a combat shrine, and you fail it, and it's like, we're gonna make you read this slow ass text crawl every time you fail. I'm like, I don't need you to tell me again that I didn't block correctly.
Maybe
Right.
you shouldn't suck.
I shouldn't, but you know.
Wow.
My favorite of we have removed all your weapons. Oh,
Dude, when you walk in a shrine and Link is naked, I'm like, oh, fuck this shrine.
Jesus, that hasn't happened yet.
yeah. I'm like, oh, so this is how we're doing Eventide Island this time? Like,
Yeah. It's like,
no, it's just
Holy
a gauntlet.
crap.
They're like, make sure to defeat everybody. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
yeah,
Thanks.
this isn't fun. My favorite shrines are the ones where the actual puzzle is getting to the shrine, because you walk in, it's just like, here's your chest, here's your thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
Except
I
that-
love those. I'm like,
Except that
sweet.
I broke 2 of them entirely because it was like, thank you for coming to our shrine, right? Like, you've already solved the puzzle. And I'm like, no. Because the labyrinths, I just cheated them.
Oh yeah, I
Walked
just
on top
I
and
just
then
walked on
dropped
top
down
of the
where the hole
labyrinth.
was.
Yeah.
And then it was like, they're like, you did such a good job to get here. I'm like, did I though?
No, I just climbed to the top and just figured
I
out where
cheated,
the hole
man.
was.
Like-
We're good.
Yeah.
I remember I used Ascend at a location just randomly, and I got right in front of one of those secret shrines. I was like, I deserve this.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh man, that game. I will tell you, the one thing that game has done, I haven't played Overwatch in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow, 3 weeks?
Shit.
3 weeks.
Is that
Whoa,
the
it's
record?
over, boys. Everybody's done with Overwatch.
I'll be back. You know I'll be back.
It won't be the same.
I hit master in ranked, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let that sit there. I'm gonna get my title when the new season starts.
Nice.
So
What role did you get the master for?
support.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought I was special because I hit diamond, in Overwatch 2, and like I got up to master or diamond 2, and I was like, can I do this? Can I do this? Sure enough, I got my support up to master 5, and I was like, I should probably stop.
You don't want to lose rank at that point, right?
No, because if I lost like a game, it would probably drop me back down. Because fucking
Doesn't it have like rank deterioration or something for inactivity and stuff too now?
not anymore. They got rid of it.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
nice.
So every season.
Well, congrats
now-
on your first master, man. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it only took me 7 years, but I got it.
Just a few hours. Just a few hours of playing.
I might have a couple hours in that game. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mostly play Zelda. I played a bunch of retro shit. I tried the new front end. It was called CoinOps, which is really nice. I don't think it was worth the hassle of getting, but it is a really nice front end for your stuff. But I think I'm gonna I feel like I try out these new front ends, and then I always end up going back to RetroArch just because it's so easy and it's got all my
Yeah.
customization in it. So
Mm-hmm.
the only thing with RetroArch is that stuff like PS2 and PS3 and stuff like that just doesn't really work that well because it's the core's not there. So
Yeah,
if
you gotta use a standalone for those and plug them in for RetroArch, and they work a lot better.
Yeah, the standalones, I haven't got into putting standalones. RetroArch has a PCSX2 core, but it's really buggy. A lot of times when you exit a game, it'll lock up RetroArch and
What
stuff.
are you using for your emulation stuff? Is it the Xbox S?
No, my PC.
Oh, your PC. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
but
Okay,
see,
cool.
the thing with RetroArch is my PC is running a cable to my TV, so I'll sit down in my chair to play. And if something bugs, I got to get up to go over to the keyboard. So it's
Gotcha,
more
yeah.
convenience than anything else. Like if I have Zemu and I have PCSX2 like solos and they run fine. Like if I just boot them up, they're running fine. But if I try to run it from RetroArch and sometimes when I exit a game it'll be like, nah, you broken. It just locks up and you can't in tasks with a controller in Windows, so that's kind of a pain in the ass.
I've been using mostly my Steam Deck for my emulation stuff, and the support for that system is tremendous. But yeah, I love emulation. I like to delve in every now and then.
Yep, I did some PSP stuff this week. I played a little Outrun Coast to Coast. That was fun. Also played some Rage Racer. Go back and play that a little bit.
Rage Racer?
Rage Racer, yes.
What the heck is Rage Racer?
It was the third Ridge Racer.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. That's when they tried to go a little more realistic, a little less arcadey.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it failed, and they went back to arcade immediately with R4. So, that's how that works. So no, I've been playing a lot with that. I need to do some arcade stuff because I've been doing a bunch of Neo Geo stuff on Xbox. I played some Magician Lord this week, some Ninja Commando. But I need to get into some of the MAME stuff. Like I have copies of Tattoo Assassins just for fun. That game is so bad.
Is it a fighting game or like a beat 'em up?
You don't know what Tattoo Assassins is? Okay, so Tattoo Assassins was a game made by Data East. What's his name? Bob Gale, the guy that produced Back to the Future. He worked on this game at Data East. It was basically their answer to Mortal Kombat, and it literally has like 6,000 fatalities in it. It was never released.
Oh.
It never made it into arcades, but there is obviously an arcade board out there, and it's been emulated, and if you play it, it is one of the most absurd things you will ever play.
Yeah, I found a picture of what appears to be a Banana Man fighting Johnny Cage. I don't know what in the world is happening here.
I'm looking at the same exact screenshot there. That's an excellent description.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Dude, that's Prism. And in the build, all you gotta do is jump kick him 3 times and he's dead.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That game is broken. There are so many fatalities that if you literally mash buttons at the end of a round, you will do one. And they are wild. Like, they're just some of the wildest shit you will ever see.
That's the beauty of emulation, man. If it wasn't for that, like, no one would have ever been able to play this goddamn game, you know?
Oh, I know. I do that all the time. Like, I played... I have a copy of Thrill Kill. I obviously have played that quite a few times.
Yeah.
I have Superman on the PlayStation, which was made at the same time as Superman on the 64 by the same team.
Yep.
Oh, so is it the same game or is it different?
No, it's actually a better game.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually a
That's cool.
Was that came out in the last year or two, right?
Yeah, it got dumped like a year or two ago. Yeah.
So I thought.
It's almost finished. Like, there's some weird stuff. Like, I have the Castlevania Dreamcast demo that I can play that, which... I played that at E3 back when it came out. It seems like it could be good, but the demo literally is like, the enemies don't do anything, and, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm looking at that website for the Superman prototype for PlayStation, and the first comment is better than Superman 64.
I mean, obviously,
that's wild. I'm gonna have to check this out. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got a lot of those
that's
things. I played last night? I played the Super Nintendo version of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is, oh my god, it's so bad.
Oh no, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know what that's built off of.
I don't either.
That's the one where he's saving Mario, right?
No, this was a different one. Like the jump button is there, but the other button is like a little wind kick or something. And he goes through buildings.
Same one.
Oh man, it was weird. There's weird stuff out there for sure. There's a Super Mario game on the Genesis, which is built off of, if I remember correctly, like Chippendales or something. It's cool.
I like all this emulation stuff because it not only gives us the opportunity to play these old games that you can no longer buy from stores and whatnot, or at a reasonable price anyway. But it also opens up the opportunity for the fan community to put out translation patches and stuff. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I like to do is that there's a website that I frequent, which I won't repeat on the podcast for obvious reasons, and they basically have.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna. And basically, they have a repository of all these different fan translation projects for games that never got an English translation. And there are a lot of really interesting games that never made it to the States. Either they were just kind of stuck in Japan, either because the system wasn't that popular, kind of like the Saturn, for example. And there's a lot of games, like variations of other games that never came out. And just kind of taking a look at some of those games and seeing what was kind of lost and we never got an opportunity to play is, I think, one of the best reasons why emulation is such a boon for gaming, not just for history, but for consumer enjoyment and stuff like that too.
Yep, I remember when Dinosaur Planet got leaked or got dumped onto the internet, and being able to play that and kind of see the origins of Star Fox Adventures was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I basically spent all day yesterday just messing around with emulation stuff and playing with some front end stuff and playing some games, and it was always good to be able to jump back into these games. But I don't think it's like people are like, well, you just buy it. I was like, I will never play through any of these games. I will play them for 20 minutes at best. So
that's just enough time to kind of tickle your nostalgia bone. And I was like, yeah, I got what I came for, and then you kind of move on to the next thing. I do something similar. I was, we were having this conversation about Sonic games in the last 15 years are kind of worthless. If we could trade it off for another Skies of Arcadia game between me and Ryan, and Anthony emphatically agreed, of course, because he also hates Sonic.
I think you guys both said you can both die or something like that.
Yeah. But regardless, and then we're talking about Skies of Arcadia, so I booted that up on the Steam Deck, and I was playing for it. I was like, this game's so good.
Yeah, it sucks when you start playing those games and you're like, I really like the nostalgia's there. I want to play through this again, and you remember yeah, I'm not going to play through this again. There's no way.
Just to kind of put Ken's point to home, the last time I made a previous save on my Skies of Arcadia Legends on Steam Deck was, I think, 2 weeks after I bought the Steam Deck.
Yeah, that's how
it's
that works.
over a year ago. So hey Brett, I put another couple of an hour or something like that into it. Maybe I'll go back to it a year from now or something like that. But there's just too much stuff to play, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I think I've made it 3 levels into Shaolin Monks after 2 years of trying to go back and play it, and I'm just like, yeah, I love this game, but not right now. Not right now. All right, speaking of too many games, let's talk about what's coming out this week. It's a big week. We've got Chicory. So this is Series X and PS5. Chicory finally making its way to Xbox. Company Heroes 3. Far World Pioneers. Shame Legacy. Super Mega Baseball 4. The Aquarist. Laser Pitium. Railbound. Undead Horde 2. Necropolis. Homebody, Killer Frequency, Slayers X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer, Minabo, A Walk Through Life, Speed Truck Racing, We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie.
Hey,
and
that's the one.
Yeah, I know you're excited for that.
I am.
Oh, and a little indie game called Street Fighter 6.
Oh, yeah.
That's... Sorry, not to take away from Street Fighter 6. That's, I think, the best Katamari game. So,
PlayStation 5 is pretty much the same. Gunfire Reborn making its way to PS5, and Shantae, the original, is coming to PS5.
I think that's a new version. I think that version has... I don't know what they did to get it to work, but Shantae originally had a Game Boy Advance features. Same with the Oracle games from Zelda, because they were released around the time that hardware was out there. but were Game Boy Color games. So I think the version that you could get on 3DS didn't have the GBA edition, but now all the new versions of the original Shantae do.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Skatebird making its way to PS4.
Oh God.
That game
Look, it's one of those, like, I get why it's interesting, everybody, but like the moment you start thinking about, like, does this actually make a fun game? It's no Goat Sim, is all I'm saying.
It's weird because I thought, doesn't early access for Diablo start this week? Because I don't see it on any of these lists.
Yeah, it starts on the first for the Ultimate Edition.
Okay, because it's not listed on here. And I'm like, I know that like that big stupid $100 version or whatever is.
Yep.
You get access this week. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are mostly the same games. We're also getting a new Paper Flight game because we need one of those every week. Lucy Dreaming, and I think that's Sugar Tanks. Whatever Sugar Tanks is, that's coming to Xbox this week. Cause of course it is. Nintendo Switch, weird that it's not the system with the big releases this week because Street Fighter and Diablo both not coming to Switch. But Switch, we're getting Home Sweet Home. To hell with the ugly. That's a fun.
Damn. Messed up.
Decarnation, Mythargia, Potion Craft, Alchemist Simulator, Sunshine Shuffle, The Tartarus Key, Undying, a new Airy game, The Lost Hero, Boxville, Constellations, Dwarve, Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection.
Oh wait, is that June?
June 1st.
Oh damn! I totally forgot about that game. I'll have to pick it up at some point.
Gyro Gunner, Hidden Bunny, Homebody, Japanese Nekosama Escape the Sweets Shop, Killer Frequency, Korokoro Harley, Lotion Samurai for Nintendo Switch. What the fuck is that? Lotion Samurai. Okay, Move the Box, Classic Box Puzzle, The Powers of Hex, Project Nightmares, Case 36, Henrietta Kedward, Seven Horizons, Johnny Trigger Sniper, Kuroi Tsubasa, and that's it for the Switch.
Okay, so I had to look up some of these. Lucy Dreaming is a point-and-click game that looks like the old LucasArts styles, like even down to like the way that the character's animated. It's got the look at, pick up, talk to, use, etc. Looks pretty solid. Sugar Tanks is you remember that tank game where you just kind of drive around a tank and then aim
Tank?
turret? Yeah, sort of like that. It's that, but it's like really like cotton candy colors. All the bad tanks are black and white.
So chocolate.
No. Like monochrome. I don't know, whatever. It is. To Hell with the Ugly is a detective noir interactive fiction story. It looks pretty neat. The graphics are very stylized. I'm pretty impressed. It looks like they have like RPG battles potentially. Just kind of weird. Decarnation looks disturbing, like the body horror stuff that's going on.
Oh, lovely.
It's a story-rich adventure horror game. Solve cryptic puzzles, fight disturbing enemies, and explore a phantasmagorical world of dreams and nightmares. Well, looking at the screenshots, I believe them. Lotion Samurai. I kind of... It's dumb, it doesn't look good, but the idea... Manipulate a lotion-covered samurai, defeat the ninjas who are blocking them, and aim for escape from the ninja castle. So you are just kind of like having him slide across the floor to kill ninjas.
Honestly, $1 million idea.
I need somebody to look at this so I don't feel as crazy. In the ranking with Lotion Samurai all over the world, complete for clear time. Oh my god.
Did you know that there's a sequel to the Lotion Samurai called the Shin Lotion Samurai?
No,
Is
there
it
is not.
legit?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
shoot!
there is.
Oh my god. So the true Lotion Samurai, I understand. It looks like a bad WarioWare game
It
that's
really
been turned
does.
It
into a
does.
full fucking game.
It really does.
Nothing wrong with
Hey,
that.
man. Yeah, more power to him.
I mean,
and
I love the concept of the protagonist being a man that's covered in lotion that he just slides across on the floor.
All right.
And more dumb shit like that, please. Thanks.
It's time for the news, and oh boy, it's been a week. Woo. All right, let's kick it off with Halo Season 4 brings back Infection and career ranks. Deathloop, Gears 5, Grounded, and Pentiment will be available to play for Boosteroid members beginning June 1st.
Boost what?
Boosteroid, it's a cloud streaming service. Because, Nintendo made deals with, like, all of them to put their games on there.
I never even heard of that service. Okay.
I didn't either.
Xbox.
Yeah, I didn't either until Xbox
You
was
said
like, yeah, well...
Yeah, you said
Oh yeah, you said
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
I was
bad.
like, no, man, you meant Xbox.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you knew, but Nintendo published Deathloop, just so you know. Pentiment got a new update 1.3. It now contains Russian, Japanese, Korean, and simplified Chinese, optimized game resources, bug fixes, new Outer Farms area, and allows users to change the text in game and make localization mods on PC.
I gotta play that game, man. That game seems up my alley.
Turn 10 revealed the cover for Forza. Guess what? There's a car on it. I don't know what the point of that news story was. Like, everybody was like,
Right.
oh my god, here's the cover for Forza. I'm like, if you'd have told me that was an old Forza cover, I'd have believed you. Dude, it's a fucking car. I don't know.
Yeah.
Microsoft formally filed the appeal against the CMA. So that's a thing that's going to be dominating for the next few weeks, because that's always fun. Microsoft also announced they made significant changes to stop the flood of easy gamer score games on the Xbox Store, like games where you can get 1,000 gamer score in 5 minutes will not get approved by Xbox.
And we haven't been able to get any comments from Drew yet. He's devastated, but we'll see what's going to happen to his career as a game score collector going forward.
It's not in effect yet, because one of the indie games I played this week, I got 1,000 points in, and I only played it for 5 minutes.
Jesus. All right.
Like, I booted it up. I'm like, this game's kind of boring. I played through the first level, checked my achievements. Like, oh, I got all of them. Cool.
See, that's how you end up ahead of me. Okay, yeah, because I made some progress and I was like, oh man, I'm cutting in, and I looked again and it was like you were 1,500. I was like,
Are you actually competing against Ken? Do you have enough points to compete against Ken? Really?
no, not for
Okay.
real. It's just like
Okay.
when I'm like on a roll with reviewing stuff, like I'll look at the thing and I'll end up like the top of the list. Like I'll have the most achievements, and then he'll come through like playing 2 things, and then he'll be like 3,000 points ahead of me, and I'm like, well, damn, okay, like I got to enjoy for a minute.
That's a losing fight, man. I wouldn't
definitely
get
is.
on that.
I don't even pay attention to them anymore. Like, I'm just shocked when I see it. I'm like, oh, I earned 5,000 this month. I didn't even try. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Stupid fucking video games, man. Achievements pop out of everywhere. Like, who even cares anymore? Like, every time I see a news story about achievements or trophies, I'm like, who the fuck looks at these things anymore?
Yeah, like, and I know some people still post their stuff. Like, I see people like, oh, I hit 1 million. And I was like, is that still a thing? Like, I know that it was a big deal when that dude did it. That I don't even know if he's Stallion or whatever. But like, are we still shooting for that? Like, is that a?
Dude, I don't know. Who cares?
I remember the article specifically, not because of the achievement itself, but all the associated photos of the man that was the first to hit that 1 million point. He looked depressed, unhealthy, and he looked like he was about to keel over and die on the spot. And I
You're
was like,
not lying.
it wasn't worth it, my dude.
Right,
He's going
it
through
wasn't
it.
worth it.
I don't.
He got Xbox Live for life, but man, it wasn't worth it.
I don't know, man. I can't. Like, I used to do that stuff, like, back in the 360 days. I'm like, let's get all these achievements. And now
Yeah, I
just
think
like,
everybody was doing it to some extent, but I think I quickly fell off. I was like, meh.
I see
I don't-
that
whatever.
that dude from Kind of Funny playing games like My Name is Mayo so he can get a platinum trophy, and I'm like, dude, why?
Yeah, I see PlayStation has a lot of those games where, and then people like put on the game board, the console wars on Twitter. They'll call them out like, oh look, you got this. My name is Dog and My Name is Earl game where you got these platinums for 5 trophies in 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, why is that y'all street cred now? Like that's what it is because your gamer score is bigger,
Yeah, like your
right?
gamer scores 1500. You're not a real gamer. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Right? Like what the hell? Like crazy.
So stupid. Sony's president Hiroki Totoki said Sony could ramp up its investment capabilities for more and bigger merges, acquisitions, baby.
Damn.
I think they freed up like $8 billion, and immediately the PlayStation fanboys were like, "They're gonna buy Take-Two." I was like, "Not with $8 billion that you ain't."
Yeah, that's not enough money, man. Are you serious? Not even close.
Take-Two and it'll let them in the lobby talking about some $8 billion. Like, what a talk. Our starting number's $8 billion. Don't even waste the trip. Stay in Japan.
Strauss Zelnick will be like, "Nah, dog, nah. GTA Online made more than that last week. Get the fuck out."
Right, like nah.
Yeah, their annual revenue for 2021 was $3.5 billion.
Yeah, annual.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Come on.
Their current worth right now for market capitalization is $23.47 billion. So when you're buying out a company that's being successful, you got to pay more than that. So
Right.
that's not going to happen, man.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Gran Turismo 7 got a new update with 3 new cars, engine swap in GT Auto and GT Cafe Extra menu. God, I forgot about the GT Cafe.
Fun fact, if you listen to the motors in that car, it's actually me snoring as they describe the fucking gameplay of Gran Turismo.
Dude, I'm still, I think people forget the intro to Gran Turismo 7 is 10 minutes long.
Wait, what?
10 minutes long.
Of a racing game?
It's an intro.
Dude, the Gran Turismo is so self-indulgent, it makes fucking Kojima look grounded.
That's saying something. Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
I timed it, because I remember when I was reviewing it, the intro came up, I was like, alright, I'll watch this. I got about 3 minutes in, I'm like, what the fuck?
Still going?
It's still going, and it just kept. I was like, all right, at this point, I gotta know how long is this intro. It's like 8 minutes and some odd seconds.
That's crazy. God.
I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. This thing just goes on forever. Oh, Jim Ryan said
It says I'm
okay.
looking at it. Multiple people have it uploaded. 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It's an 8-minute intro.
Yeah. Intro to a racing game.
Cars go brrrr, that's there, done.
Jim Ryan said the cloud will be fundamental to us.
Fuck off, Jim.
PlayStation numbers. PlayStation VR sold in its first 6 weeks 8% more than PSVR 1, likely to be around 600,000 units. PlayStation Plus, Premium, and Extra. 14.1 million people subscribe to the higher tier. Extra is the lowest at 6.1 million, and Premium is the highest at 8 million. But I promise y'all motherfuckers that 8 million is going to drop hard because Premium is ass.
It is, man. Those classic games, the offerings is not enough, and the cloud is still mediocre at best.
Yeah, that they're boasting these numbers. I'm like, that's because all you motherfuckers that bought those subscription cards now can't cancel until it runs out. So I promise you,
all jumped on
like 2027.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I will be canceling as soon as mine runs out. Ain't no doubt about it. I ain't subscribing to that. Spider-Man Remastered hit 1.5 million copies on PC, while Last of Us Part 1 368K. Ugh.
No, it didn't come out not that long ago. There's still a lot of room, but Yeah, disappointing
and
compared to Spider-Man.
wasn't it broken though?
Oh, it was very
It is,
broken.
very,
fixed?
very.
You can also do this thing called turn on HBO and get the exact same experience.
Oh,
I need
snap.
to watch that too. I forgot about that.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through the PlayStation Showcase, because it's been 20 months since PlayStation had a real legitimate showcase, because, you know, this is where all your dreams are coming true.
Sony disappointed me, so I'm selling my PS5. Please let me know with all interested offers in my DMs. I can't believe it. They did a terrible thing.
Oh
I
my
appreciate the little lisp that you put in there, Anthony.
I don't know what
Yeah,
you're
was
talking
good.
about. This is just how I talk.
It's just, I can't, like, I saw the blow up of the fanboys. My favorite video is a dude dressed up like Snake and he was crying. Like,
Oh, are you serious?
Dude, I ain't kidding.
That's crazy.
Motherfuckers dress up for a showcase. Y'all need to get out, like, for real.
Right.
Like,
It was never that serious.
It's easy to make fun of, but I always find that kind of like passion endearing. So I'm not gonna talk about that stuff.
Yeah, but if you record yourself, is it endearing or is it performative?
There's that aspect to it too, right? If you're like a streamer and stuff like that, and you're kind of just doing it for the clicks. But there are some people that are really that invested, and I heard some screams when people saw the snake pop out of the fucking swamp. Spoilers, and it's. I find that to be nice because there are games that I'm that passionate about too. Just happens to not be about this very vague remake. That do we still know who's making it yet, or is it still not known?
yeah, it's part Konami and part Virtuoso, I think was what Konami said.
Who the heck is Virtuoso?
I don't know them.
Dear.
But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just go from the top to the bottom. They kicked off.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They kicked off the show with Haven's new game, which is called Fair Games. It's a Payday-like shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just a pure CG trailer. There's a whole lot about nothing.
There was a whole lot of trailers in this showcase that said not real gameplay.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really, really big at the bottom, too. It's like, yeah, no shit, that's not real gameplay. I know. Yeah, I can tell.
They didn't put one of those at the bottom of the Killzone thing from E3. Remember that?
Yeah.
They didn't put that there.
Yeah.
I think that's why they do it now.
Yeah. Ghost Runner 2 was up next. I don't know that I really needed more Ghost Runner, but okay. Let's see here. What is this? I hate when these rundowns don't put actually what they're doing. They kind of come up with a quippy headline. Helldivers 2 was the next thing up.
Did you guys play the original?
I did. It's a great game.
Is it? Oh, nice. Maybe I'll check it out at some point.
I thought it was Starship Troopers. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, they're bringing a Starship Troopers game," but it's not Starship.
Yeah, that whole trailer felt like they're going for that vibe for sure. I was expecting the guy to say like, do this to learn more. Yeah.
That was
like I was expecting that.
That's how that was the tone of the first game. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Then we got a new trailer for Immortals of Avium.
This is a trailer that actually sold me on this game a bit because it really showed a lot of the combat and the different types of enemies that you'll be fighting. And my initial impression of this game was that it's just another game where now magic hand is your gun and you're still going to be shooting people, to death with your hand, your, quote unquote gun. But in here, it felt like there was a lot more mobility related skills, a lot of like gesturing for different types of powers that require a certain amount of charging and stuff. That kind of stuff interests me because it kind of reminds me of Ghostwire Tokyo, but maybe a little bit more involved because that game was very straightforward and simplistic in a lot of ways, right? So I'm actually going to check out this game now after this trailer. They did a good job.
Yep. It's an interesting looking game for sure. And then up next was probably a lot of people's highlight of the show, which was Phantom Blade Zero.
This game looks wild.
Yeah, it looks crazy. This rundown is calling it a Souls-like, so Terrence, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me at all.
They showed a lot of this game, and it was mostly gameplay, so that was really impressive.
It looks good. It does look good.
Thing about it, Ken, sorry to interrupt, is these games from these companies, like that, like overseas companies, it feels like they get announced, they look really good, but they kind of like never come out. Whatever happened to Wukong, for example? That was like shown like 2-3 years ago, and then we haven't heard anything about it when it's coming out or nothing.
Yeah, there's also that, what was that, Stellar Blade? Like that.
Yes, that's the Korean one, I believe.
Yeah, the Korean game. Yeah, like a lot of people were expecting to see that. Like, I feel like they do that a lot. You're right. And then like you just never see the game again. So it's weird.
And that kind of worries me about this game too, because I think the combat, the motion, and especially the parry stuff that they were doing with that really quick parrying and attacking multiple enemies at the same time looks fascinating, but it has to play well. It can't just look well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it might be another Wukong where it kind of just disappears off the face of the earth and we never hear about it again. And that'd be a shame because I'm interested.
Yeah. Then we had the new game from the Abzu guys called Sword of the Sea,
yeah.
which looks cool. Then a sequel to a game I really enjoyed, the Talos Principle 2, was announced. I love that first game.
That's like the game with the puzzle lasers and stuff, right?
Yeah, in the first game, think of it kind of like Portal, but with lasers, and the entire thing is God telling you how to solve the puzzles.
Picture Portal mixed with Myst.
Yeah, that's
because that's the kind of area you're in my opinion.
Yeah, visually it's
you're
very
Myst-like.
Yeah. It's a cool game. I love the first one. Looking forward to the second one. Next up was Neva from the Greece developers. Next after that was Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean.
I hear people really like Cat Quest, the original games. I haven't played
This is the third one.
They are good. They're pretty decent, actually.
Nice.
I played the second one.
I'm still laughing about this next game. I can't believe Square Enix is making a Splatoon clone with soap.
Bruh. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's called Foam Stars.
I've never seen a game that felt more dead on arrival from its trailer than this game.
Oh,
I mean, that's them in a nutshell.
Oh my god!
Hold on, they've just announced another game. It's a free-to-play game.
I bet you're wondering how we ended up here. The makers of Final Fantasy making soap Splatoon. Jesus.
It's like Splatoon with none of the charm.
Not even
the dope music from Splatoon.
Guys, they've been hitting the park lately with all these games, like that one that I don't even remember the name of from Platinum.
Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall, Balan Wonderworld. Just what's the one for PS5 that like didn't light the world on fire? Forspoken. Yep. Square Enix make all these good decisions. Yeah,
Square's been fucking up for a while, man. And if Final Fantasy 16 isn't a rousing success, this is gonna be a very bad time for Square.
Right, like shit may be the Final Fantasy for real this time. Like, it won't be.
That would be crazy if it actually happens. But I mean, Final Fantasy 16 looks good, right? I mean, I can't imagine the game being bad.
It doesn't look like my jam, but it does look like a good game.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a new trailer for the Plucky Squire, which I still can't wait to play.
Hell
that game. That game looks
I want that game.
Yeah.
Teardown finally coming to consoles. That's a cool game. And next up was the trailer for Ants, and then Frogs, and then Gators, and then Snake coming out, and it's Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, Delta. Really?
Yep.
Delta's the fourth.
Why can't they just call it 3? Why can't you just be normal?
Isn't Delta the fourth letter in the Greek alphabet? Which makes it even weirder.
But I read something that they explained why they went with Delta, and it's supposed to be, you know what, I read it, but I don't remember it, so I ain't even gonna speak on it. But there's an article out there, y'all can Google that shit. They talk about why they chose to put the Delta moniker on there, and it has a meaning to them as to why they didn't just call it 3. I think it has something to do with like they're going to be changing some things, like it's not going to be 1-to-1 3. So there's going to be some things that are different or something, and somehow Delta helped to personify that or something crazy like that. It was, some deep stuff.
I think they just want, it's got 3 points, so it's probably the third letter of the alphabet. Whoops, no, all right, well, we've already made this, so...
You're probably right. Like,
Jeff Keighley just out there asking him why isn't Kojima's name on it.
Kojima isn't gonna suck your dick, all right?
Right.
Jesus Christ.
The
relationship is a one-way street. Don't fucking kid yourself.
But you are
friends. You are friends with Hideo Kojima. He is not friends with you.
You know what? Now I hope that's exactly how that relationship goes, because I hate Jeff Keighley. I hope that it's just all made up in his head, and Kojima actively avoids him.
It's...
They're also making...
Do you talk to any friends like that?
I do not know.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
They're also making a Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1, which includes Metal Gear 1 and 2, and then Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, which is weird because they're remaking 3 entirely.
Yeah, but it'll be a different game according to them.
Sure.
And this is supposed to be like Volume 1 of the collection, so we're hoping that there's a Volume 2 that includes Metal Gear Solid 4 sometime.
Volume 2 will include
hopefully.
Metal Gear Solid 5, Peace Walker, and Revengeance only.
I saw yesterday, and I do trust the insider of Jez.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he heard 4 was not gonna make it.
Yeah.
It's the cell. It's the cell processor. You notice we haven't got like re-releases of a bunch of games that were only on PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
That's because of the cell processor.
Man, I mean, Last of Us was originally a PS3 game, and that game is on literally everything now. So
yeah, but
clearly
Naughty
you
Dogs
can do
are
something.
wizards.
It's true. They are kind of cracked, but this is Konami we're talking about. God damn it, Konami.
Yeah, it's Konami. Might as well. The next game...
But I am nice to I am glad to hear that the original voice actors for 3 are coming back to reprise their roles. I think they were all incredible in the original game.
Mm-hmm.
And even David Hayter got the shaft with Metal Gear Solid 5, so it's really nice to see him back in the project again.
Because of who?
Hideo Kojima.
Jeff Keighley. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kojima didn't want him. He wanted a big Hollywood star, and it's like to this day kind of funny because like literally all David Hayter is doing his best Snake Plissken impression, which clearly Hideo Kojima liked. So like, okay.
I was under the impression it's because the spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 5, the game's old enough.
Because in Japan that wasn't the case.
What?
Yeah, in Japan...
I see what you mean. Like, Japan played the original? Yeah.
Yeah, used the original voice actor for Snake. He only changed it for America.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that the twist wasn't the same in Japan.
No, it is.
But
the voice acting, like, literally was only changed in America.
Gotcha.
All the people returned for the characters they were playing in Japan.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is. Kojima's always been more into making maybe movies than games, and that's kind of his passion, and I get it. And the thing about it is, like, I can't ever say shit to Kojima because he has had a large part in making some of my favorite games of all time. So it's like I'm never gonna be able to talk shit to like Miyamoto, and Kojima is like right near that area, so it's like difficult for me to say. Yeah,
I definitely could see myself talking shit. It would be like, okay, understood. However, could you defend this decision still? Because it doesn't absolve you of shitty decisions.
No, it doesn't absolve you, but like, goddamn.
Me crying and screaming, why did you fire David Hayter?
All right.
So we'll see.
Have you not seen... oh, God. Have you not seen Guyver 2? God damn you.
The next game I don't remember, so you have to refresh my memory. It's called Towers of Aghasba?
This is the we have Breath of the Wild at home game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 trailer looked good. Alan Wake 2 with gameplay trailer. That was
baby.
Good.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I'm so in.
man.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed Mirage was shown. Looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Revenant Hill. I don't.
This is the cat one.
Oh, is that the one where it's just a cat walking?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it is.
yeah.
I
That's
think it is.
it's the people that did a Night in the Woods.
Okay.
Oh, is it, dude? I love Night
yeah,
in the Woods.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
it's that team clearly because it's the same
Awesome.
artist. Yeah.
Gotcha. Next up, Jay got excited for Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, winter 2023 launch window.
I was excited to see the window, but I'm not that excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another Street Fighter 6 trailer. This is like the new Deathloop. It's in every fucking showcase now. Ultros is a loop-based adventure. I don't know if I remember that one either.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Ultros. Yeah, I don't remember that. Dragon's Dogma 2 gameplay trailer, which was awesome.
Hell
Also
yeah.
awesome, yeah. But no date. God dang it.
That game's never coming out. Five Nights
Probably
at
2024. Yeah.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 announced for late 2023.
It's a VR game, right?
That's the VR one.
Yeah, we're in the VR. We're in the VR section now. Resident Evil 4 VR mode. Arizona Sunshine 2. Sorry, I'm not choked. Crossfire Sierra Squad is a PSVR 2 game.
Stop trying to make Crossfire fucking happen, Jesus Christ!
I mean, right? Like, God.
Synapse.
I mean, everyone loved the Xbox Crossfire game.
Guys,
Right? That
it's
was
one
like
of the most
the game of the years. Yeah.
it's one of the most popular games in the world, and yet every time you bring this fucking corpse out on stage, nobody wants to play with it, and then you put it back in the cabinet for a while, and then put it. Oh, look, see, it's a brand new game. It's like nobody wants to touch this dead piece of shit.
Can I be real honest with you? PSVR 2's support in this showcase felt a lot like, yeah, we kind of have to do something, but we ain't got to do something special.
It felt very Wii U-ish.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Batman Arkham Asylum Armored Edition.
Yeah, Synapse is the next VR game, and then they announced Beat Saber 2 is finally coming to PSVR 2. Like, minimal effort here, guys. Minimal. Then we got Destiny 2 developer Bungie showing off Marathon.
Oh, God. No.
A free-to-play shooter.
I actually looked into Marathon because I have no idea what Marathon was originally when I was seeing this trailer. And based on the synopsis that I was reading for the previous Marathon games and what I saw, it seemed completely different
It is.
to the vision of the
Marathon-
original Marathon games.
Marathon is a heady, like it ultimately Marathon Doom clone. Like, let's just put it out there. It's a Doom clone. However, it was a Mac exclusive at the time, and it is heady, like really fucking weird. There's a video series from Mandalore Gaming where he goes through all of the Marathon games, as well as another game that is attached, but that was also from Bungie, Pathways into Darkness. And it is a fucking trip and a half. I've read a bunch of the terminals because I'm not going to play this game. I don't need to play a Doom clone to enjoy it. So I'm just reading the lore, and that shit goes off the fucking rails. So turning it into a multiplayer shooter just seems like the total mishandling of that. Like, bring Marathon into the Destiny universe, seeing as how you own Marathon, and make it your single player game inside the Destiny series.
Well, but like we've only seen a purely CG trailer. We don't actually know how the game's gonna play yet, right?
I mean, as soon as it's not a single player adventure where you're reading terminals to understand the story of what's going on and why you're doing what you're doing, it's kind of like how Halo multiplayer and Halo the campaign are two very different things. It can play great, but like Halo, a lot of people go for the story, and that's the reason why they've been bouncing off of the newer games, not just because they don't play great, because the new one played fine, but
Infinite had a bad story going through it.
All right. They also announced a new Destiny expansion, The Final Shape, where one of the main characters, spoiler alert, is back from the dead.
It's a circle with a circle inside, and it's the Marathon logo. Look at that.
They also announced they're making a competitive first-person shooter from Destiny veterans called Concord. We got Destiny veterans now? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it did come out, like, pretty early on into the PS4 Xbox One lifespan, so...
No, it was 360 PS3.
Well, because it launched this both on the same time.
Yeah, but I mean that's.
But what I'm saying is like it was literally from the beginning of like a console generation / last gen, and then that was what 2014.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
And then Jim Ryan came back out and he's like, "We got this handheld device that you can." He called it a streaming device, but it's actually just a remote play device called Project Q. A lot of details have come out about that since the thing. Insiders are saying it's about $300 to $400 and lasts 3 to 5 hours.
Fucking awful. Project Q. You know what also started with the Q? Quibi. And Quibi also failed to understand what the fuck it's good for.
He also announced earbuds that will deliver lossless, low latency audio.
That I appreciate, but that's a Sony side of things. I don't need fucking PlayStation branding on it.
I bet
Sony's always been good with headphones.
I bet those things will be like $80-$90 though.
Probably, and you'd probably be better off just buying a set of like Sony high ends for a little bit more and getting the same features out of it.
And then the last trailer obviously was Spider-Man, but no date, which was weird.
His suit's slimy. If you have issues with symbiotes now, let me tell you about the last 20 fucking years of Marvel comics.
Oh my god. There's nothing but symbiotes.
Symbiotes, fucking
god.
Right now they have a fucking comic called Extreme Venomverse.
Sure.
Enough with the goddamn symbiotes. And people are like, well, it's, the suit's slimy. You can blame that on the fact that like people started drawing Venom slimy, and it's just continued on. He didn't have big spiky teeth in the beginning. Like,
nope.
But a trailer is good when that's what they're complaining about, right?
Oh yeah,
they're not complaining about the responsiveness of the gameplay, the actual visuals and stuff like that. They're just complaining about how slimy something is.
They're using the animation of Kratos getting in the boat, these lazy devs.
Oh, I don't know. I saw plenty of complaints online of how unfinished the game looks. And I'm like,
I did too.
What?
I saw somebody talking about the water. Like, the water was terrible. He's like, I wouldn't expect to see this on a PS5.
The water. Again, the water. The fucking, why does it always come to fucking water in the goddamn Spider-Man fucking games?
Remember I don't know, man. Yeah.
The puddles, man? Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up.
These guys are never going to shut the fuck up.
I'm not even, like, the biggest fan of all the Sony stuff, and even I'm like, okay. Like, when people were complaining about how fucking Aloy looks, like, motherfucker, it looks brilliant. Shut the fuck up.
Like, people complain about Aloy looks like, I'm sorry you can't fuck a polygon. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that even though this character doesn't exist, they're still out of your fucking range. Good God.
These people, man, there's something wrong with these people online. Like, Xbox guys were doing the same thing. Like, this just looks like Spider-Man 2. I'm like, and? Spider-Man 2 look really good.
I mean, exactly. Like, it looks like...
Let me look at my Xbox exclusive that can compete with Spider-Man. Like,
Jesus.
Redfall looks really good. I don't know what you're talking about.
Redfall has a problem with hands. I think they need to fucking just solve at that fucking studio. Somebody needs to send them pictures of the fucking people's hands in conjunction with the rest of their body so they can see that the hands shouldn't be like 4 times the size of someone's face.
Oh my God! I need you to. You'll never not look at this the same way again. If you go back and watch a cutscene for Gotham Knights, Nightwing's hands are so fucking big.
I never noticed that.
They're
okay, I'm gonna have to load that up.
They're
I'm gonna have to look.
huge.
I never even paid attention. All right.
Now you will never be able to unsee it. You will see his
Nice.
hands, and you'll be like, "Oh my God, they're huge."
All
All right.
You know what? So Spider-Man, real quick.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw. The only thing that I would have liked from it, and I understand why it's not, and it probably is difficult and whatever else, but this is just me, is I would have liked to see that as a co-op game, as somebody being able to play as Miles and somebody as Peter and go through it. But I get, for presentation wise, why it's not that. So they do let you kind of switch between characters at pivotal moments, which is nice. And I think Jay mentioned this in our chat when we were talking about it. Well, I wonder if they're going to have Mary Jane back in this and as a third playable character, where you're going to have to do stealth stuff again as her.
Oh God, I
like
hope
you
not.
had to in the first one.
Those were
I hope not too.
Mhm.
But I mean, I could see them throwing it in there just to kind of, shake up the formula a little bit.
You all
So-
don't need to shake up the formula. Swinging around the city is fun. Leave it alone.
I mean, you're right.
All right, let's
All right,
go
I see
through
it.
some more news. So I know the story online was like everybody was disappointed because Sony doesn't have any first party games. There were a lot of really good stuff in there.
I'm sorry, like they showed you their big one, and you already know that they have other stuff.
Well, I
Coming.
understand the disappointment because it's been 20 months.
Okay, but okay,
Like that's a long time with no first party.
but they haven't had no. They had fucking first party shit this fucking.
I'm talking
over
about-
the last year.
But I'm talking about in the future is my point. Like everybody's always like, "What's the next
Oh,
thing?"
fucking Jesus
And
Christ!
I understand the sentiment. Xbox
next
did
thing
the
is
same
Spider-Man.
thing last year.
Maybe you'll get a fucking other game announced when we get closer to fucking Spider-Man.
But why not do it here? Like this is your big show
Maybe they
for
won't
the year.
go. Maybe they won't go 20 more months without showing another one.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, after 20 months, you would expect to see at least, like, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming. Or what is Naughty Dog working on? Or
I mean, for real, because we make this joke about the title card gang, right? They could have just do a title card up there for Ghost of Tsushima 2.
fuck
We
it.
know it's coming.
But then,
like,
here's the thing. Then people would have been obsessed. Why are they only showing the title?
Exactly.
There's
and that's
no
what I'm saying.
fucking
I
win
think
scenario.
they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Like, you know what I mean?
You got
They get flack
Spider-Man.
if you show it too early.
Here's
you
a
get
bunch of
flack.
other shit. Fucking
Yeah.
enjoy.
well, to be
But what else are
fair,
we gonna play on my PS4? There's over like 1,000 PS4 games. Go and discover a new favorite.
nobody cares about what happened. People only care about what is.
Okay,
What is?
well, what is was a pretty decent show of a bunch of shit that people have been asking for, and now it's not good enough.
I did love the Xbox
I want
tweet
to hear
though.
more about Xbox, or I want to hear more about Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. You did, and now it's like, well, it's coming to Xbox too. Eat a dick or whatever. Eat a dick. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna be disappointed. That's on you, man. You came in with those expectations.
I think it's a combination of different things, right? Because the showcase for PlayStation hasn't happened in a while, which kind of leads you to believe or feel that there's going to be more stuff to show because of the absence of the information that's been going around for Sony. So with that in mind, on top of that, you have to remember that the previous Sony shows, especially like the last couple, they had some big things, and that's what people were kind of expecting for them to do again. But that's just not how it works, like realistically speaking. Sometimes you have those shows where you can really showcase a lot of the shows, but at the same time, those kind of shows where you showcase something big or a lot of things that are big, a lot of those games don't come out for like 3-4 years. We're talking about like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Last Guardian and stuff like that. The games that they show really well and people talk about, but they don't actually come out. And one of the things that I liked about this show particularly is that it feels like most of these games are going to be in our hands within the next year or so. I'm talking about like within 2023 and on to the first half of 2024 kind of deal. And that's good. I think that's something that they should try to go for more often. So you have a combination of people that are starved for information, that have set their expectations extremely high because of the previous shows having those big things. And of course, you know, you're in an environment where people love to hype things up, and there's rumor mills that are telling you about like, oh, they're going to announce that all Xbox games are going to be on PlayStation now. And people like buy into shit without any credible evidence for no reason at all, and which increases their expectations even further. So a lot of it actually is your own fault as a consumer for buying into that hype in the first place. But at the same time, it's not 100% your fault, because all these influencers, rumor mongers, and all these insiders that are, you know, telling you all these things that's going to definitely happen, which doesn't happen, and all of a sudden it's Sony's fault. But at the same time, I think I agree to a lesser degree that Sony could have shown more here in terms of their first-party stuff. I think they leaned a little too much onto their third-party, and there's a lot of trailers for the first-party that were 100% CG. And I think we're at a point where if you're going to do a CG trailer, do it for like a small teaser. Don't do it for like some extravagant, like 2-minute CG trailer. It doesn't go over well anymore in terms of what people are actually expecting. So I think Spider-Man was exactly what they needed to show. They showed you a vertical slice of Miles and Peter Parker gameplay. Kind of being able to control both of those characters in one game is something that I really wanted, having really loved Miles Morales and the original game. So that's by itself is already a selling point for me. But ultimately, we're going to get more shows, and we're going to get additional announcements. Not next year, not a couple months from now, but a couple weeks from now, from Summer Games and all these other developers that are going to be putting out stuff. So if we see more like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 stuff, maybe we'll see it in some other showcase or whatever that you might not be expecting. So don't feel bad about it, but at the same time, like, check yourself. You're only hurting yourself with all these
I can't believe
unrealistic. Yeah,
Nintendo hasn't announced Metroid Prime Trilogy because they've been told it's just shit like that irritates me. Like, sometimes these companies do hype up their shit too much and disappoint, and that's fine. But it's like when people are listening to these people, they're just wrong so many times, and they just keep going back to them. It's like, man, that Metroid Prime trilogy, and I use it because it's one of the best examples, had been lingering since the beginning of the fucking Switch, and it never materialized. And so, like, and Mother 3 was going to come to the Wii U, and all this stuff, and it's just like, you're going to be disappointed. Just go in, expect nothing, and you'll be far more pleased. And you just got a Horizon, and you just got a God of War. So, like, you knew that wasn't going to be there. Yeah, you have other franchises that definitely could have appeared. But maybe they're not even at the point of being shown yet. Like, these studios are doing something. So, I don't know. It's just, it's a weird thing where it's like, I just don't understand why. It's one thing if like they walked out a series of like God of War and now it's a fucking pachinko title, And I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of a piss off. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But I don't know. It's always weird seeing people get upset. I think they showed you some great reasons as to why you should have a console. Yes, it's going to the other console too. I don't see why that's an issue, but
no, it's not an issue. But also,
it is for some people.
Oh, well, some people are morons. I'm just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. Here's the big rub of this, though. Xbox has an opportunity to get some mind share if their showcase is better, but also if they even just match it, ouch. Like, I don't know. They have an opportunity, but I've seen Microsoft miss too many layups, honestly.
For sure.
Like, they can come out and kill it, yeah. But I've also watched them like step on rakes constantly. So,
just fumbled a bag. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and all he had to do was pick it up. You know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah.
was right there. Like, yeah, it's.
I don't know. I was happy after the Sony show because we saw a lot of games that are coming, and they're coming to. I have all the machines, so it doesn't really matter. So I get to play all these games. But I do want to see some new stuff, and Sony. It is what it is. Like Anthony said, they've put games out. If Xbox comes out and they ain't got nothing to show me, boy, nah, not after 2022. No fucking way.
Could I interest you in some free DLC for Redfall, Ken? Would that be something that you would like?
It actually just fires the game and all the data from all the servers into the sun.
I'd be okay with that because that
it's like we're gonna purify the vampires once and for all. And just shoot all the Redfall data right into space.
It'd be cool. That 60 frames per second patch that was supposed to launch with. Whatever.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
All right. More news. Dead Island 2 sold 2 million units. That's pretty cool.
I've heard that Dead Island 2 was a better game than Redfall.
It was.
Can confirm.
Like,
Confirm.
I've heard that people describe it as like, how is this a better immersive sim than the game that's made by people that make immersive sims?
Yep.
All right. Release dates. We got some new ones. Yasha, Legends of the Demon Blade, launches in 2023 for Switch, Xbox, and PC. Ryan is excited because AEW Fight Forever has the release date of June 29th. Dice Folk is coming in 2023 for PC. Total War Pharaoh, October 2023 for PC.
What a weird title, seeing as how the original game Pharaoh just got reissued, remastered. Yeah.
Samba de Amigo Party Central launches August 29th. Tetris, The Absolute, The Grandmaster 2 Plus, coming to Switch and PS4 on June 1st.
Yeah, I have to pick that up. My friend fucking wants me to play it with him. It's fucking a nightmare Tetris game. It's very hard.
Bish Bash Bots launches in 2023 for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Alone in the Dark launches October 25th for Xbox Series X, S, PS5, and PC. There's also a free playable prologue called Grace in the Dark. I don't recommend you download this 20 gig demo because it's literally like 5 minutes.
Abandoned.
Dude, like literally you pick up an envelope, walk down the stairs, and a cutscene plays. And that's it.
That's more than abandoned, but not by much.
No. So, it looks okay. And I'll definitely play a new Alone in the Dark. Because Disgaea 7, Vows of the Virtuous is coming October 3rd in the US for PS4, 5, Switch, and PC. Sky Ocean's Wings for Hire, which looks like Skies of Arcadia at Home, is coming to PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC. Void2Go 1.0 launches June 8th on Steam after 2 years of early access, and 2 DLC announcements for The Wonderful 101 Remastered is getting DLC After School Hero Part 2 now available, and Wolong Fallen Dynasty's first DLC, The Battle of Zhongshuan, launches June 29th. I'm sure I butchered that name, so I apologize. Delays. Blue Protocol was delayed to 2024. Homeworld 3 delayed to 2024, and Front Mission Remake 2 has been delayed to an undisclosed date. Alright. Lego X Pac-Man arcade machine announced will be $270 available June 1st.
I watched the ad for that. That is a neat little thing. But yeah, very odd that they're doing all these.
What do we got here? Some layoffs. Life is Strange True Colors developer Deck 9 laid off some of its staff, as did Brace Yourself Games, creators of Crypt of the Necromancer, which laid off half of its staff.
Jeez. I thought the Hyrule whatever thing was a success.
Hyrule? Yeah. I don't know, man. A lot of people getting like FaZe Clan laid off 20% of its staff after already laying off 20% in February. Sega laid off 121 people at Relic Entertainment. Antimatter Games, the makers of Rising Storm, is shutting down its Cornwall studio. Tati Gabrielle from the Uncharted movie is in talks to play Jade in the sequel to Mortal Kombat. Overwatch 2 had a bad week.
Because you weren't playing, they was like, man, we lost our draft pick, man. What is this?
So they canceled the hero mode for Overwatch 2.
Wait, hold on, Ken. Was that the mode that they're promoting as the reason for Overwatch 2's existence? Was that the thing?
That was the one, the one with the talent trees and all that stuff.
Yeah. All the cool stuff that people were really excited for, and people are like, "Well, Overwatch 2 isn't great, guys, but the PvE is coming. Just wait, guys. They'll do it right."
Yeah, they're still going to be doing PvE missions and story missions in season 6, but the hero mode is no more. Yeah, this is bad. Like, I know I haven't been playing, but the community of Overwatch lately feels really disappointed and depressed. So, I don't know. We'll see how it pans out going in the future, but yeah.
I'm sure the listeners are excited for that news. That means we're less likely to talk about playing Overwatch.
Oh, no. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, I know a lot of the hardcore fans are upset that it got canceled, but Overwatch 2 is one of the most popular casual multiplayer games, and people have been playing this game even without this stuff, so I don't think that's going to stop, truthfully.
No, I don't think the game's going to fail or anything like that and just kind of go out of business in a couple of months. But in terms of, like, what they did to the fan base and stuff like that, and I fully understand now why Jeff Kaplan left.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just about the fact that it's canceled, it's the way that it's delivered. They've known this forever, in terms of their path to across the different seasons and stuff like that, because these things don't happen overnight, right? Because these decisions are made and everything. So the fact that they're waiting all this time to do it, for all these people to have bought the season pass and get more invested into the characters and the things, assuming that they'll be able to use this content that they purchased in this PvE mode, which would be a huge boon, right? Because it would actually give you a place to kind of flex your collection of stuff and kind of use your other stuff in conjunction with the multiplayer mode. That being gone, it just strikes me as disingenuous and deceitful in a lot of ways.
I mean, I know you said it last week while I wasn't here, Ken, but I said it in our chat too. They said you would never pay for a character in Overwatch. This is Overwatch 2. Now you can buy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of it, and
they're not
it bums me out, man.
liars.
Yeah,
Guys, it's a different game. Come on now.
I loved Overwatch. I was actually the one that reviewed it for ZTGD, which is funny as hell considering how much more Ken has played than me at this point. But at the same time, I think I gave it like a 9.5 or 9. Talking about the loot boxes kind of being like the only shady part of the game, along with some of the matchmaking stuff. But I truly believed it to be like a once-in-a-generation kind of multiplayer game in terms of the overall feel of the gameplay, the strategy, and everything involved. And I went back into it when Overwatch 2 launched, and I still had a good time in terms of the basic fundamentals. But at the same time, I couldn't help but feel that this was a lesser game that they're parading around as a brand new thing. And that feeling has just been vindicated 100% through this decision that they made. So I don't have any plans to go back to Overwatch at this point, given the circumstances, and it's a shame because I would have loved to have got back in when the PvE stuff launched and maybe gotten more into it once again. But it'd be like that, man. Activision Blizzard is not the Blizzard that we knew and loved back in the day.
Yeah, I'll be the first to tell you that Overwatch 2 has never reached the peak that the first game did. Like when I was at, my all-time high with that game, I still play it because, like you said, I love the fundamentals. It's almost like breathing to me at this point. Like even though I haven't played in 3 weeks, I could probably hop right back in and I'd be back to where I was within like 2 or 3 matches. Like I love that game, but it is definitely not where it was at its height, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Supermassive Games, the developers of Until Dawn and The Quarry, and Midwinter Entertainment are developing a new single-player interactive story game in the universe of Dead by Daylight. Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty good. Let's be honest. That's a pretty good team up.
Oh yeah.
It is actually because the lore. Go ahead.
I was gonna say because they have all these original characters, not just the licensed stuff in Dead by Daylight. So being able to play that out, that's not a multiplayer game. You know, the thing that Overwatch needs to expand their lore. They're doing it. I'm really impressed by Dead by Daylight's ability to just kind of keep trucking along when all the other sort of titles have died around it.
Yeah, every single one of them.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about that because she still plays. She hasn't played in a long time, but she was still on it before when I fell off. But she plays Dead by Daylight. And we were talking about that, because there's a mobile game out for it. They got, this thing with Supermassive, which I think could be interesting because the lore, like I was going to say, is actually really interesting in that game. Like the fog and the entity and the why you're being chased by these killers, like the reason behind all of it. And even some of the killers, backstories, they have paragraphs of stuff that you can read about. It's actually super interesting. So them branching out, I think actually could be really good for them. They could probably do something like a Resident Evil type game for real in that world, and it would probably be pretty cool.
All right, here's the weirdest. This might be the weirdest thing I saw this week. So I know we talked about Inspector Gadget game coming, and it was coming to everything but Xbox because that seems to be the theme lately. Well, people on Twitter got so loud that Microids eventually said, okay, we're going to do an Xbox version. And I'm just in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, cool, more games in more places. But at the same time, was this just a ploy?
I feel like it.
Because how do you just pull that out of your ass?
Right. I mean, did we do the cost analysis? What if these people that were so bold don't actually buy it? Did we waste this money by putting it on Xbox now? They had to have just pulled that. They did this. This was a thing. This was a marketing ploy. That's what this was.
So weird, man. I don't know. Okay, so now the game will sell an extra 50 copies added to its 250 copies that it sells. Okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because it ain't gonna fucking set the world on fire.
No.
What, Inspector Gadget isn't what's hot in the streets right now, man? Isn't the
if
young,
I did
young ones are talking about it?
If I could do a Dr. Claw impression, most people still wouldn't be able to get what the fuck I'm referencing.
I was going to say, if you were born after 1990, you probably don't know who Inspector Gadget is unless you watched that.
He existed into the 90s. But
you were born in 1990. You didn't see him.
I was born in 1992. I watched that show growing up.
Yeah, but you have nostalgia for old stuff. You were born in 92.
But I'm telling you right now, it played on television.
Sure, but who watched it?
It was.
I'm just curious.
I'm just saying. After a certain time in the 90s, absolutely, it wasn't on the air anymore. And then they did the Matthew Broderick film that we just should pretend never existed.
Did they do two of them?
They did live action. They did.
Yeah, they did.
Sir.
They did two of them.
Oh,
the other one. The other one starred French Stewart.
That's right. Yeah, Matthew Broderick wasn't Inspector Gadget in the sequel.
Yeah, French Stewart was Inspector Gadget, and it was
I don't think I saw that
DVD, and it was weird.
The first one was weird.
I mean, it's weirder because French Stewart
is weird.
Yeah, but French Stewart as Inspector Gadget, all I can picture is Jimmy Fallon's French Stewart impression.
Inspector Gadget. Boop, boop. Got no theme song. All right.
Yes, Inspector Gadget. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Claw.
Dr. Claw with his cat. Never see his face.
Yeah.
Oh, Warhammer 40k Speed Freaks was announced, a free-to-play game for Steam.
Dumb, but...
I played this. I forgot about that. I played this real quick because they had a little alpha thing. It's not horrible. It's only the orcs, so it's not all the factions racing against each other. And it's more there was a game that came out on console called Cross Out, where there's like a bunch of different cars and you have different like weapons and stuff on them, and like
So
there's two
Twisted
different
Metal.
teams. Damn, yes, Jesus Christ, yeah, Twisted Metal. That's basically what it was like. So like, but like instead of like just fighting each other, like you might have to blow up a base while fighting other cars, but then also have to hit checkpoints and stuff too. Like it's throwing a lot of stuff, but the actual gameplay, like combat stuff, it's pretty decent. Like it was pretty fun.
Alan Wake 2 is only digital.
That's weird to me. I felt like with Control being as successful as it was, and how many like different special editions of that game that existed, I thought Alan Wake 2 for sure would have those dumb special editions with statues and perhaps even an entire script of the entire game or something like that. That would be on cue for Alan Wake.
I can tell you why they had so many versions of Control. That's because 505 published it. This one
Who's
is not
publishing Alan Wake 2?
Epic.
Oh, that's true. I guess Epic doesn't really do a lot of. Yeah.
No, and Remedy is part of Epic now. And the last time Epic has put stuff out was like all Fortnite based, and those are actually published by Gearbox, as far as I could tell.
It's weird, man.
I mean, I'm not the type of person that buys like special editions of games of this type anyway, so I don't care. But I'm sure there are a lot of like diehard Alan Wake fans that are really disappointed that they're not going to be able to get a physical copy with special edition stuff.
Some publisher reached out and said, "Hey, like, why don't we team up and make this happen?"
It was THQ.
It was THQ. Okay,
yep.
Who's struggling right now?
Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake has been confirmed to only be in the concept phase at this point because it got rebooted. So yeah.
Don't. Here's a concept. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Rumor time: Persona 6 is planned for 2024, and it is only on PS5. We're going backwards. Going backwards.
First of all, Persona 6 is not going to see the light of day until like 2025. That game takes forever to make.
Well, it
so
says planned
for
late. It says planned for late 2024.
Yeah, and then fucking delay for 2 more years. I think Persona 5 was slated to come out in like something like. I think the original reveal for PlayStation Persona 5 was like 2016 or 2017 or something. And then the game, came out like 2 years after that.
Because there was still a PS3 copy.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Persona 5 did also come out on PS5.
More Persona rumors that the Persona 3 remake is planned for later this year and could be revealed at the Xbox showcase, and that there is a spin-off of the Persona franchise due in 2024.
They do be loving milking the Persona series. But I would love to see it. I would especially like to see a new Persona fighting game, because Persona 4 Arena and Arena Ultimax are really fun games.
And another rumor, according to Kotaku, Ubisoft's open-world Star Wars game, Project Helix, is coming at the end of fiscal 2024. So, and I think that's it for that bit of news. We did get a few nibbles afterwards. There's a new Dragon Quest game coming.
I'm excited for it.
I'm looking for the name. Here we go. Infinity Strash Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai, launching September for everything, including the Xbox, which is crazy.
That's nice. And this is actually the first manga I ever read as a child. The Adventures of Dai. Even before Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So this one is something that I know and I do love from my childhood days. And they actually did a remake, or they redid the anime for the series, which was actually also very well done. So if you end up playing the game, or if you're interested in playing the game, I recommend the anime, which is a decent chunk of episodes, but a good time overall. Very classic RPG, like shonen stuff.
Another quick hitter. Nintendo filed a DMCA claim against Steam for the Dolphin emulator, which Nintendo is just the no fun police. I swear to Jesus.
So here's the thing. I don't know how Dolphin works anymore, because I'm sure it's changed. If it doesn't use any code from Nintendo, there isn't much they can do. They have to prove they have ownership over that code.
I think so. I think I read this somewhere that it doesn't contain, because the BIOS is always the kicker in emulation. If you do any sort of emulation, BIOS is always a big deal. You didn't need it for GameCube, but I think the Dolphin emulator on Steam had the Wii U BIOS.
Yep, that would do it.
I think that's where this came from. We had layoffs at another PlayStation studio. PlayStation's laying off a bunch of people in their games as a service studios. This one's now at PlayStation Visual Arts. I don't know what they do.
I think games as a service are generally more money pits. Everybody's just trying to gamble on the one where they can get a couple whales.
Yeah.
Like,
There
there's
was
too
that...
many of them. It's too many, not different enough, and they're chasing things that already have an audience on somewhere else. Like, it just doesn't work.
There was also that news story that came out about... So this was kind of funny because you can tell who's credible in the leak department. So Naughty Dog put out a statement, talking about Last of Us Factions being delayed, and then 2 minutes later, there was a story from Jason Schreier over... I forget where he's at now. Does anybody remember where he's at? Anyway.
Is he not Bloomberg?
He might
I thought
be
he was still at Bloomberg.
Yeah, I think he might be at Bloomberg. But he put out a statement about how they basically cut the staff for that game and scaled it way back.
Well, he had asked them. That's the reason why he said, I'd asked them for a response, and then they just put out a tweet instead. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just funny because they knew he was going to publish that story, so they got out ahead of it. But I'm going to be real honest with you, I think that game is dead.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I just don't see the Sony pivoted to those games as a service for a while, and seeing all these layoffs and conversation around it, I feel like that maybe this is just they're going to they saw what God of War, Jedi Survivor, and Tears of the Kingdom did, and those are single player games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, hold on. They saw what Redfall did. And how Halo Infinite...
I mean, even EA is starting to realize, maybe we don't just do only the things that have cards.
Yeah.
Right? I would love to see EA now think about Battlefront again.
They are. That was a statement that came out from Vincent Pella that the next Battlefield would be changing things. So, who knows? I don't know. I'll be happy the day these die, and Square Enix is the only one still thinking they can make one work.
And they'll be the only one.
Foam Stars 2. Foam Stars 2.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. All right. I think that's all the news.
There's a new Homestar Runner game coming. For anybody
what?
Homestar Runner.
You don't know what Homestar Runner is?
Mm-mm.
It's old. It's old. Yeah, fucking Flash Days shit.
I think it's technically a strong bad game again. But I saw that there was an announcement for that. Can't remember. There was something else.
Sony's buying CD Projekt Red. That's true, right?
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna happen for sure.
KOTOR remake is still in development. Please God, believe us.
Yeah, Embracer put that statement out there, we're still making it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what it was. Embracer's having issues, right?
Yeah, they lost a $2 billion partnership with a big publisher.
Yep, and we don't know who it was. And
I thought it was Star Wars because, that news came out about KOTOR being killed, but then I'm like, Disney wouldn't make a $2 billion deal, right?
No, not like that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, the CEO was talking about them having cash flow concern. I mean, he was downplaying it, but he was, because this was they had just found out that this deal fell through, and then he was boom, on camera. So they had to do this interview. So his reaction wasn't really hidden as him being pissed off and upset. You could tell them losing that deal has hurt them. And I'm just curious who it was for and what it was doing, because they were talking about it was supposed to fund the next 6 years or something like that of release titles or something like that.
Who is big enough to make a $2 billion deal? You got Microsoft, maybe
Amazon.
Sony, Amazon, Epic Games. Like, I mean, the list isn't that long, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, but you're also thinking of only businesses that are video game based.
No, it's true. This could be a new player. Like Netflix. Netflix probably has the juice.
They got their own gaming stuff, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, I
doing
mean, like somebody who just is like willing to diversify where they have their money.
Maybe the Tolkien Society saw Gollum and was like, "Nope, we done."
Oh, good, you brought it up, boy. Did anybody else watch videos on that? Because I couldn't get enough of that.
I watched that video review.
Go up, yeah.
And I was like, because I was just going to watch it for a minute, but I watched the whole thing, and I was just like, damn.
That is, wow. Yeah, I didn't think we'd have a game worse than Redfall this year. You know, that was
got delayed. Like, man,
like a year, didn't it?
Yeah. Like, what was the delay for? Like, what the heck?
I don't know. I kind of want to play the game that wasn't delayed.
It makes the Hobbit game on PS2 look like just a masterclass of adapting literature. Jesus Christ.
Wild.
It's unfortunate because that developer has made some really good point-and-click adventure games. Yeah, Deponia, Memoria. I've reviewed some of them. I've had a good time with them. But this one felt like it was out of their wheelhouse in terms of what they've done in the past, right?
Like way bigger.
Yeah, it is. Like way more ambitious. I think maybe they just weren't ready for this one. And I hope that the developer doesn't go out of business because I think there is a lot of talent, especially when it comes to the writing department. So hopefully this will be like a lesson learned, and they'll regroup and continue to create games and stuff. But sometimes one is enough to kill a company.
Apparently, they have another game that they have to make too. That's also like Tolkien based. So
I read that because it's something like it's code named but it has something to do with magic or something like that.
I don't know exactly. I just heard that they have another one kind of in the pipeline. So
that's funny.
This one, Jay probably is the only one that knows. Rayark fired all their artists.
What did they make?
Sightless 2 and Demo.
Their
rhythm games, I believe.
Oh, wow. I thought those games were supposed to be doing good. I guess not.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, they probably are, but like the publisher, developer, whatever the Rayark is exactly, they've switched to using AI for all their graphic design.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
That noise, man.
Yeah.
You can't replace artists with AI.
No, you can't, because somebody pointed out, like, look, 6 fingers, and
It's not even just that. It's you're throwing your hat into the ring of a copyright nightmare if you're going to be using AI, because unless you can prove definitively that every single artist that the AI is generating from has signed off and been, properly been compensated for their works to be put into it, they're going to be treading in legal gray land, right? So, and there is no such thing in terms of like the more popular AI generation nowadays. You just don't have that. It just takes too many images to pull out something that is even remotely decent. So, in that regard, if you're going to be starting to use images from that, you might be open to a ton of lawsuits that you wouldn't have to deal with if you had your own original art department, which
that is true. Yeah,
a good one. Yeah, you already had a good one that was iconic to the visual styles of your games. Now you just throw that away for something that is, I guess, on the first hand, might save you money because you're firing people, so you don't have to pay them anymore. But think of the possible legal fees, and on top of that, if your games don't sell as well because they don't have the artistic vision that the previous games had, then you're going to be doing tremendous damage to your own brand, and that the cost of that can be incalculable in terms of the future earnings that's going to be lost. It's all these short-sighted CEOs and people in board meetings making these decisions and projections that end up ruining these companies and games, and it's
Yep.
every single time, man.
The describes how I feel about AI art entirely.
Yeah. Everybody's an artist now. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, and then I guess the good news is I have only one other thing to mention. And it's a nice way to end off because we talk about all these games that come out and die because they don't have a player base. Knockout City put out software. It's only Windows, unfortunately, but that way you can start private servers.
Oh, that's nice.
Cool.
I heard a lot of good things about that game, and I was sad to see it go because it seemed like a pretty fun time. But it's nice that they're leaving something behind that the community can rally behind and make their own servers. And honestly, if those private servers end up doing well and people keep modding features into it, there could be a potential for a sequel in the future for the original developers. So it just pluses all around.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with all these games that come out is that they just die and like a star burning out. It turns into a black hole. It sucks in everything around it, and it's just this fucking waste. And not only from the point of spending money on a video game and now not having anything to show for it, but just all this artwork and design and all this hard work that people put into making these games. Because with the talk of Gollum, people were like, well, nobody sets out to make a bad game. It's like, true, but it is disappointing that when there's like nothing kind of seemingly worthwhile of saving, and it's like, and then there's all these games that are, but because there's not enough people playing it, they just die. And it's like all these artists that work really hard to make these games stand out visually has nothing to show for it at the end of the day. It's depressing. It's like, what do you save and what do you leave behind, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I got one email and one tweet, I believe. The email comes from Jeremy. He says, "Hey, all, I just wanted to convey my condolences because Overwatch is dead. I gotta say, I'm a little concerned that Blizzard is going to mess up Diablo 4 like they did Overwatch. It sucks seeing a game that so many people like get screwed out of promised features. Well, enough of the negative stuff. What is your most anticipated game coming up? I'm pretty friggin' jazzed for Diablo 4. I'm really hoping some Dragon's Dogma 2 updates at the Summer Game Fest. Thanks for the show." Well, you were clearly pleased with the Dragon's Dogma showing at the PlayStation Showcase.
Sure he was.
Also, Overwatch is not dead. I know people like to say that, this game is dead because, even the Overwatch content creators are like, I think this game is dead. I'm like, nah, you're just trying to get clicks. I get it. But yes, Overwatch is disappointing for sure right now. As far as most anticipated game, yes. I mean, obviously, right? Mortal Kombat. I mean,
yeah.
Wow, for
feels,
you, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm speaking specifically for me. Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. It's not even a question.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
I'm thinking about it. Come back to me in a bit.
All right, Anthony, what you got?
I don't give a fuck.
He ain't got
I got Zelda. That was kind of where my brain just turned off.
Really?
Okay. Legit. There's nothing that I'm like, I want more of this. Nintendo might announce something, but for now, like, most anticipated game, I don't know. I don't got any. Some indie stuff I know that I'm excited for, but
Tell us one of them, man.
That's just it. Like I've seen stuff. It's like it's coming out. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll remember that closer to. But off the top of my head, I can't remember all of that. Like nothing. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of indie stuff that gets announced, and it's like, well, it'll be sometime in the future. Okay, and then it never comes out, and it's like, whatever. It sucks sometimes. Sometimes I forget about it entirely. But
mine's a tie between Alan Wake 2 and Space Marine 2. I don't know which one I want more, but I want both of those.
Nice.
Wow.
For me, I would say this can very easily get pushed to 2024, but I'll just say it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second remake game. They did say winter 2023, right? So
that's what they said, but I don't believe it.
Exactly. I know. That's kind of the reason why I'm a little hesitant. But I'm also wanting to give a shout out to a game that's actually coming out in June, Rain Code. which is a kind of like a spiritual successor to Danganronpa, made by the same developers and producers and stuff like that. The only thing that's kind of gets me is that it's a Switch exclusive, so I know they're gonna have problems with performance and stuff like that. But I'm always eager to check out new stories from the Danganronpa folks.
That is on my wish list on Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, what they've shown so far seems promising in terms of the character art design. We talked about artists just now, and it's surprising how much of the Danganronpa identity is with the artist that does the character art for all of those games. And it transitions nicely into Raincoat. Looks gorgeous. The characters look eccentric and interesting, and the premise sounds pretty interesting as well in terms of what you're doing. So that's the game that I know is going to come out for sure, and I'm excited for it very much. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there's so much potential writing in that game, man. This could be so good if they do it right.
I have one, and now that I was looking I looked at Steam. Like, what's the most like that people are like excited for? So I'm like, I scroll down. I'm like, what's popular upcoming? Oh, that's right. I have System Shock remake coming at some point for me because I backed that Kickstarter almost a decade ago.
Me too.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, so I got that. Also, Ken, I might have one that's a little bit sooner for you, although I don't know if it's coming to everything or not. Class Masquerade 3 Honey Lines. It releases May 30th, 2023.
I'm gonna need some more Glass Masquerade. That's for sure.
Oh, that's an instant fucking buy. God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
They're so good.
How crazy is it that we just had this 4-person conversation about what's anticipated? Nobody mentioned Spider-Man. Nobody mentioned Starfield. Nobody mentioned Starfield. Nobody mentioned Street Fighter. Nobody mentioned Diablo. How good is this year?
Oh, can I just say,
it's so good.
Don't care, didn't care, don't care.
Yeah,
God dang it, Anthony.
All of those games that you mentioned, except for maybe Starfield, I care less about. But everything else, I'm definitely gonna play. So
you'll play Starfield too because it's free. You got Game Pass.
I will, but I also played Redfall for 5 minutes, and I was disappointed by that.
Let's not put Redfall in the same conversation as Starfield, please.
Hey, I'm just putting it out there. They're both Bethesda, So
yeah, but two different studios. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
we'll see.
God, I'm looking at like games that I've wish listed that they're like the top wish listed games. Yeah, okay, let me look. Starfield is one. I don't know why I have it on my wish list, but whatever. It must have been before they bought it. Whatever. Hollow Knight Silk Song.
That's never coming out. That's a lie.
To be announced. Hades 2 to be announced. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 coming soon. Yeah,
sure.
My goodness.
Yeah. So, just going through. Wizard with a Gun 2023 is the one that's coming out. Okay.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I wanted that game.
Replaced coming soon. Hyperlight Breaker coming soon.
Wasn't Replaced announced at like a Xbox showcase in 2019?
Yeah, it's never coming.
Yep.
All right, let's get out of here. The tweets. Alim just says #Puzzle Quest, and he wants to know, when do you guys think the next Metal Gear Solid game is going to release on PC? Wasn't 3 announced? It's coming to PC, right?
Yep.
The remake, the Delta one.
Yeah, it's day and date, I'd assume, right?
I think it was announced for PC alongside with PlayStation 5 and Xbox, right?
I thought so.
I thought that's what it's everything but, Switch, of course. But yeah.
I wish they would, stop, messing around and announce the actual platforms for the collection, because all they've said is current platforms.
Yeah.
It's not like Switch can handle that too. They're PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't expect that to be difficult for every platform.
I'll tell you what, though, Metal Gear Solid 1 with achievements might actually make me care about achievements for one game. It's been a long time since I played through that original game. Probably 4 or 5 years.
Do you think the Twin Snakes version will make it to Volume 2?
No. No way.
No, because that'd be nice too, dude. How awesome would it be if you had Twin Snakes Metal Gear Solid 4 on Volume 2? I would buy that so fast.
Dude, that'd be that'd be the fastest purchase I ever made.
Just take the graphics you have and just remake the first game.
Nobody's gonna do that.
I don't need anything much better looking than fucking 5. Just remake 1. Thanks.
Well, they've already remade 1 already.
Yeah, no. Without the fucking boarding off of a fucking missile shit, just remake 1.
I mean, that felt like some Kojima shit, I ain't gonna lie.
It didn't feel like Kojima shit. Like, Kojima is a little bit more fucking on top of things than that. Like, he's not like, whoa. Like, Raiden could do that. Snake, he would be like, no, that's...
When you say remake 1, you're talking about Solid?
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid? Okay.
I swear to God.
No,
it's not the first game.
This motherfucker won't let go of the fact that, like, Metal Gear ain't being remade. As much as I'd like it. Because you know what? Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake was remade as Metal Gear Solid. It's basically the same sort of setup.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But still, I'm just, I mean,
let
if
it
you're going
go.
to remake something, let's remake the first.
No, let it go. It's fine.
Will.
Nobody needs that original game.
I mean,
I feel asleep.
Either, but...
Okay? Just saying.
Nice.
All right, that's a long. That was long.
I would like to blame Ryan and Drew for how long this show is, especially like their absence made the show so much longer than it had to be. It's definitely not someone new that came back for like one episode. It's not that person's fault in the slightest. It's the people that are not here. It's their fault. So make sure you tweet at Drew and Ryan that they're making the show too long, and you complain to them, okay, directly.
I blame Drew every week for everything. It's always his fault.
Wow.
Speaking of Twitter, if you want to follow us on Twitter, which by the way, Twitter is fucked up. Our site doesn't share to Twitter anymore because all the services didn't renew their API money. So now I have to do it manually. So yeah, sometimes you'll probably get like 4 or 5 things in one day because I'm lazy and I forget. But you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at ZTGD. Jay is at Bodyside J. Terrence is at Lord Magnus. Anthony, again, smartest man alive, doesn't fuck with Twitter. You can follow.
Don't need that one cut out.
Huh?
Anthony, smartest man alive. I'm just gonna play that every time I'm right about something.
I got you, dog.
You can follow the podcast at ZTGD Podcast. There you go. There's the Wilhelm scream. It's at least in one episode. You can follow the site at ZTGD Content. And Phoenix Down, I don't know what the fuck they're doing because Drew ain't been here. He's been like on a road trip.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. So Phoenix Down, there you go. Phoenix Down was the last tweet that came from the site. So that one will always be like the memory one, the last automated tweet.
Nice.
Which was on May 19th. That's how long it took me to figure out it was broken. I figured out it was broken on Friday. I'm like, oh, oops. So then I spent like half a day trying to fix it to only realize that Twitter APIs have been canceled by like every service because they're not going to pay the money.
Which, good.
Yeah, it's funny because that's the only service that won't share now. And I'm like, man,
yeah, let that fucking idiot not make money off of his big purchase.
Oh my god.
Enjoy. Fucking. Ugh.
Yeah, that's the show. I'd expect shows to be long for a while because next week we're going to be talking about Street Fighter and Diablo, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I won't be here for that, seeing as how I won't have anything to contribute to that conversation anyways.
Yeah, but you always contribute to our conversations. I value your input.
Great, but I'm also not going to be here anyways, so...
Oh, you dick.
Oh, well. Exactly.
Or, if you're really happy about that fact...
Choose your sound effect.
Oh, it could go either way, right?
Jay, it's this.
You gotta press it multiple times.
Like
you're
you
right.
come
You're
off
right.
the ship. Oh, Jesus.
Gotcha, bitch.
Anyway. Yeah, get them all out. Just do all of them. You didn't do it through the whole show. Just do it now.
I'm not here very often, man. I gotta get my money's worth. You know what I'm saying?
You should. Oh, I love it.
Anyway, that's all I got. So it was another piece, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.